1, 2, 33, double L, Andy PG.
Check. 3-3.
Check 3-3,
Check
yes.
3-3.
Guys, you're expecting a live show tonight featuring...
Unlucky.
Featuring Human Vibration.
Unlucky.
I've got some bad news. I'm really sorry. We're currently recording this for you on Wednesday before Friday. And HV, she messaged me today. Bless her. She can't make Friday night. We're really sorry. And obviously, I had nothing prepared, so I had to pull the show. Now,
look, in all seriousness, look, don't be pissed off. Her dog isn't very well at all.
Yeah.
Like
really poorly.
Seriously, not very poorly. Come on. Her dog is hanging on to dear life.
got fluid on
Yeah.
the lungs, and
So we can't be pissed off that she can't attend. It was very grateful that she did let us know prior.
let's send some positive healing vibes to HV.
Absolutely.
Over in Texas, I think she's still based there, and her dog. But here's the thing: she's still got a sense of humour. Now, this presentation, The Big Lie, as you can see by the graphic, the thumbnail that I've made here with the help of Al Gore, it's based around the Nazis.
The Big Lie, Michael.
The Big Lie, it's called.
Shout out to my main man, David Irving.
And really sadly, her dog is actually got a collapsed lung, and it's in something that's called a gas chamber. And listen, HV won't mind me making that joke. She made it herself. She even sent me a photo of the poor little dog in the gas
AIX works in mysterious ways, Michael.
Well, you know, we first of all we hope her dog gets better.
Absolutely,
ASAP.
we're gonna post
and we'll keep you updated on that as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, tonight, don't go anywhere. Just because it's not a live show, you don't need to go anywhere. You can always trust that myself and PG have curated some fine filleted cutlets of rabbit for you.
Absolutely, Michael. Cooked to the perfection.
From past shows, interjected maybe with some little clips that I found on my hard drive you haven't seen before, maybe with a music video, maybe with some clips of some past music we've done. So don't go anywhere. We've got a wicked show for you tonight. And Human Vibration will get back to us, hopefully, first of all, with some good news about a dog, and secondly, with a new date ASAP to get this presentation, because Auntie Coviet, for one I know, was looking forward to this a lot.
Oh, no, King of Sting was.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
And, yeah, obviously, big shout to our sponsors. Let's just get that off the bat straight away. Big shout to Liberty Silver Designs. I'm currently rocking the new remixed Errant design. So big shout to them. Also, big shout to Dr. Kimchi. On the next live show, I'm going to do the giveaway of the physical crypto coin cold wallets that are apocalypse proof. You can store your crypto on them, and they come loaded with 69 kimchi coins that supports practitioners that fight against the big C without using the big pharma.
They're giving away huge amounts of money, guys. Huge amounts of money. To
$60,000 so far they've given away.
Anti-pharma doctors.
Anti-big pharma doctors, yes. Yeah, so big shout to them. And listen.
And let's be honest, let's talk about next Friday. We weren't even going to do a show next Friday.
Oh, yeah, so we need to let you know.
Now we're going to hit up the phone lines. Right, we've got a customer services. It's actually my birthday on Friday, live on the show. We're going to have the Empress in tow. Becky S. Investigators are going to be here. Baz, Claire, the Brahmish crew, they're going to be here. Magix is going to be here, and it's the return of Sinstar Dread back from his long winter in Portugal. Going to be smashing up some turntables.
We're going to mix up Brahmish radio with customer services. We're going to have multiple DJs. We're going to open up the phone lines because we haven't heard from you guys for a little while. And we do like to get interactive and have a chat with listeners, viewers, new and old. So that's next week. Next Friday night, we will be going live with Ramesh Radio and Customer Services. Now, as I just said, we're recording this on a Wednesday night. You're watching it on a Friday. Wednesday night for me and PG means one thing. What does Wednesday night mean for you, PG?
That means to me, subscribe to Patreon.
Basically, right, I know we keep going on about it, and if you're not subbed to Patreon, you're probably getting bored of us saying it. But
we just did like a 2-hour, 40-minute show recording of.
It was 1 hour, 40 minutes.
Sorry, 1 hour, 1 hour, 40 minutes. We were doing a presentation, like playing a video. Then we
pick up the Schwabers board.
Lance created this during the show here. I mean,
this is a diagram to try and explain some of the stuff we were talking about with the finer points. Basically, we are going in so in depth into the sides of the Black Cube, the mythology and the lineage of the Black Cube organisation, and how all these bits of information.
It's not only that, we were playing a video, doing a presentation on a video, and we subsequently did a slight rabbit hole tangent live during the video, paused it, and then we actually started playing another video. So we had a rabbit hole within a rabbit hole. All about a different side of the cube within the cube it was already in.
Deep into sabotaging Frankism, linking it with the House of Saud. This is the kind of content which you will only get on Patreon.
For a mere $3.33 a month.
Don't forget,
guys.
we can say whatever we like on there. You can get this is like the raw, uncut Rise Above. Basically, that's the only way I can put it. Apart from all like 2 videos a week, which is our goal, right? Wednesday and Sunday.
Yeah, man.
So Sunday's video is almost 2 hours long. A really nice off the cuff conversation.
Talking about times, Lance. Like, it doesn't matter how if it's a 10-minute video
I'm just letting
or a
them know
3
how-
hours 33-minute
PG,
video.
I'm letting them know how much time they're
the
getting.
quality of rabbit filleted and cooked up on the show is irrelevant to the time that it takes to consume the rabbit.
So I guess it's quality, not quantity.
Absolutely, that's what
you're
you get
trying
on
to say.
Peasantron. And if you're not subscribed to Peasantron, well, you're not getting the absolute fillet, are you?
Yeah,
Let's be
and
honest.
remember, obviously, while we're talking about Peasantron, apart from the content, you get discounts on pretty much everything, including everything off the website.
Including our massive hotel weekender event in August.
Oh, shit. If you like Rise Above and you've never been to one of our events, you need to get to this goddamn hotel weekender. Bank holiday weekender, August 22nd, 23rd and 24th. We've got a whole program of things going across 3 nights, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, talks, panel discussions, Raw Academy seminars, speed dating, after parties every night with DJs and performers and MCs, Inspector Veg, Ryan Sanders, Archaics is joining us.
Massive,
absolutely massive. We're going to have tech house and techno from Tom W's, aka Wisdom
You're
of
going to be
Mushrooms.
nicely, gently serenaded by Marcus Payne during the afternoons in the intervals.
We've got so much shit going on, it's unbelievable. If you thought the last one was good, check out this one. It's going to be mental. We will be showing some videos throughout the stream tonight.
We've got,
our
and the
past events.
lineup's increasing, guys. Every week, every month, we're getting more peasants involved.
Absolutely. So, get your tickets, riseabove.tv. The QR code is on the screen.
Also, guys, listen,
Right
we are
about now.
giving a shout out to
Yeah, good
people that want to host a stall, whatever they're selling.
We have a space that for maybe a handful of stalls, maybe 4, 5, 6. So a space for a table. Bring your artisan Ramesh wares.
Just email the show. There's the email address
I'll
at the
put it-
bottom of the
I
screen.
will
Lars
put it-
going to get that up now.
Hold on.
The only rule is you can't sell clothing.
You can sell anything.
You can
apart from
sling
clothes.
anything you want legally, apart from clothing.
Here's the
Because
email
we've got the
address.
monopoly on the clothing
Yeah, the only
in the merch store.
The only clothing available there is for the Rise Above.
It's
repertoire.
Ramesh wear.
So riseabove@gmail.com. This is the email. If you have got some handmade wares, if you've got some products that you think will be a good fit for the Ramesh community,
Anything anti-clown world,
yeah, or if you want to come and have a store where you're doing consultations with people,
yeah, anything like that, guys. Like,
have space for a
what's it
small
going to
table,
cost? What's
basically.
it going to cost someone to have a table for the entire weekend, including their
entry.
ticket?
Well, the ticket entry is for the whole weekend is £50, and the charge for the table is £50. So basically, if you've got your ticket, the table is £50 for the whole weekend. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
And no one has to give a percentage of their profits
that's it.
away.
Everything you sell, you get to keep yourself. All
So
we
it's
want that
50 quid, guys, for the table.
Is 50 quid. Like.
And you can party with the Ramesh, take in all the... You can shut your stall for an hour if you want to go and check out a debate between Jason Arquex and Martin Leakey and the validity of Tartaria. You can take some time out if you want to come see Andy PG, drop some massive bassline drum and bass.
At this event, we have a 24-hour bar. At the last event, people were going 24 hours a day. They were sat there meeting new friends, rabbit holing with each other, talking about stuff we discussed on the show, coming out with whole new topics.
Shout out to Bucket Hat Dave, who propped the bar up the entire weekend, as he has on every other one of our events.
We have 2 of the best conscious rappers in the UK, Ryan Sanders and Inspector Veg.
That's it, guys. If you want to eat well, you speak to Inspector Veg. If you want to invest in the Christian right, you speak to Ryan Sanders. They'll both be there.
Right, I think we told everyone about the event enough. Big shout out to everyone that's already got their tickets. See you guys there. And by the way, last thing I'll say about the event. You get to meet us guys, and we want to meet you too, and we get to party with you. Last time, I was sat around at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, chatting absolute rabbit breeze with people.
We'll be there, mate. Bring your nan. Your nan will be
having
welcome.
an absolutely fantastic time. And if you're single, we have speed dating.
We do indeed have
come
speed
and meet
dating.
some pure blood meat suit operators and have a date.
That's right. What word to your nan?
Right, okay, so that's enough about the event. We don't need to say anything else about that. You know about subscribing to Patreon. I think basically
Stop just flipping through slides, Lance. Like, look
No,
at
I
something
want,
to
I
talk
want
about.
this to feel informal because, you know, they haven't got a
Well, it
live
is
show
informal.
tonight, of
It's
course.
informal.
So, yeah, guys, that's it. Enjoy the slideshow tonight.
Yeah.
Catch us next week.
We'll be here in the studio, customer
Are you going to
services
play
guys.
some of this new
I
genre of
will be
music?
having some bass
Tell
music.
me you're playing the new
I
genre
will
of
be.
music.
Fuck me. I tried to do a set last week and your computer turned off.
mate.
Yeah, so don't give me any of that,
listen,
Michael.
I felt so bad for PG last week.
Don't worry. Don't feel bad for me. I
He
don't want your
brings round,
pity.
he bring round his brand new controller.
My new hardware.
The first time I play it on the show.
Hardware.
Magic starts, and then just as PG's.
I even gave Magic.
Magic.
Magic said to me, "Oh yeah, I'm really feeling it." I was like, "Well, go on, have an extra 5 minutes. I'll do the last 15 minutes."
Yeah, that's what
Lo
you
and
wanted.
behold, 33 seconds before I was about to go on, the computer just dropped
The
out.
whole computer just turned off. And
Of
as you
course,
guys saw
never
last
happened
week,
before on the show.
The stream abruptly stopped. All right, listen, we'll see you live next week. Enjoy the Schwab show. If you're sub to Patreon, we'll see you on Sunday night and Wednesday night.
Lance, can we play the outro of our rave video on Friday night? Can we do that as an outro? Yeah, it's quite funny.
What, play it again?
Yeah, just
I
play it
don't
again for
see
the
why
outro.
not.
Hit
Yeah.
that
So
up.
listen,
Hit that up.
if you're thinking like our Rise Above crew, good fun in real life, like just check out this oh shit,
Schwabbery.
Here it is. Just check out this video of what we got up to in Bristol last week, and if you
Just for a giggle.
want to come and have fun like that with us, get your ticket for the August.
In Dakota, Bristol,
waving that around. Andy PG, double LMC.
And Sub-Zero.
We're here with Mr. Ryder, the main promoter.
This has been a sick
Look
night.
how cinematic this area.
Like, look at the state of Rich.
Look how cinematic. Mate, we need to shoot some sort of video. Something. A big shout out to all the Patreon massive, the Peasantrons. We tried to give you guys a little bit more, take you back scene with us. Like, obviously, we've now done the set, both buzzing. Andy PG smashed it. I even gave the little 20-year-old MC a run for his money with a bit of... But, you know... Yeah, that's right. It's all good. We've got AJ here on the camera recording the business.
Okay then.
What mocha!
Be out here.
We're out here.
We're out
This is a
here.
casual, classic Ramesh vlog. Me and PG, first time he's done a set
That's why I just kept
in the open for about 10 years. First time I've done a set since about
Never mixed on the 3000s before.
2022.
As we step inside the midnight hour, the man on the decks is Andy PG. My name is Double LMC. Together we are Rise Above from RiseAbove.tv. Let's do this. Big up AJ on the camera. Lights, camera, action, baby. PG, run the track, brother.
had some butterflies earlier on, him more than me. But once we got
I was
here,
shitting myself, Michael. First time I've played in a mix.
he changed his t-shirt 3 times.
It's the first time
Conrad.
I've played in a club since 2012.
I was thinking, no, what? Because remember, all the Peasantron Massive, you know, all the bars are right now to 140. I'm drum and bass is in the past for me. I was like, what? A whole hour to hold down by myself.
You know
And then there's going to be 20-year-old MCs going, listen, no one walks over me and PG when we get on set.
No. None of that.
Ramesh fucking familiar.
That's it. How's that ecstasy tablet, lads?
Crazy times. I'm in the toilet in Lakota, which is quite a well-known club in Bristol, and I'm just like, this is like the backstage area. This is the toilet in the backstage area. It's so beaten up. There's like holes in the wall where people have been having like K-hole thrashing sessions, elbowing, punching the wall. Like this is the side of like performing as an MC that I don't really miss. Being in environments, you know, like this.
Well prepared to take off your tinfoil hat and join us at the next Rise Above Live in the Flesh Part 2 August Bank Holiday Hotel Weekender. With 3 days of engaging talks, panel discussions, interactive workshops, nightly after parties, speed dating, meet new friends, socialise, network and make connections from Bournemouth's golden sandy beaches. Located 10 minutes away from Bournemouth train station at the Celebrity Hotel, come and join us on the 22nd, 23rd and 24th of August, this bank holiday 2025, and get your tickets on our website today.
Okay. Everyone is also talking about hidden and false history of like these past worlds and stuff like that. Now, it seems
Past resets.
Pre-reset civilizations. And it seems to me that it's just like the icing on the cake that we literally have got these like UCE events, unexplained combustible events that are just like clearing loads of land in places that are already designated to be the new shining light destinations of the Great Reset. These smart destinations, smart islands, smart cities. I just think it's too good. Do you see what I'm saying, PJ?
Yeah, mate, for sure. Yeah.
Like I've said it before, that you know, is it a coincidence that all of this information about Tartaria and about the mud flood and stuff like that all basically came out because I pinpointed it down to a 3-month period in 2018.
I remember you talking to me about this for the first time. It was when it was the Empress.
Yeah, she
She
brought it
came
to
to
me.
you with fuckloads of information. She was like, "Have you seen all this?" And it all seemed to be dumped out into the peasant sphere.
In a space of 6 weeks
Yeah.
that I've been out of the country, and I had never heard of those.
Yeah, because
subjects
I've been
before.
researching the occult since 9/11, and I didn't hear of any.
Never heard of 1815 mud floods.
No.
Never heard of Tartaria.
No.
Or the subject of Tartaria as it's presented.
No,
now.
I hadn't.
So, we've all seen the pictures of the decimated buildings that are basically completely vaporised underneath what has apparently been a Mountain Dew attack, right? Agreed?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
California, Maui. We've also been looking at the actual technology of military-grade Mountain Dew. Big shout out to Omar Beats in the chat.
Should be in the fucking studio.
Yeah, where are you? Now, we've been showing these apparent laser or microwave weapons attached to the front of
Careful,
large planes.
careful, Lance.
Large planes, right? Which we think is up-to-date technology. So I'm just going to sort of like finish off my point by talking about this. Like
In due time.
In due time.
That was fucking excellent.
Good one, Homer Beats. San Francisco, 1906. Now, back then, when this kind of UCE, unexplained combustible event happened, it was blamed on, it was just called a Great Fire. Now, if anyone's...
The Great Fire of London, the Great Fire of Chicago, the Great Fire of there's been a few.
Unfortunately, all the pictures from then are black and white, so we can't see if anything's blue left in the fire. That would be interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Because here we've got on the right-hand side this blue boat.
I mean, I've seen it. I've seen umbrellas, cars, fucking anything blue. Someone's washing was hanging out and all the washing was murked. There's a pair of blue denim jeans hanging up still.
Now, what was that video that you showed me the other day that was going on about blue and the laser?
Yeah, so the wavelength of the colour blue is actually 666.
Or that particular part of the blue spectrum.
The
right?
frequency that's being used, yeah, apparently. Where's my phone?
I was talking about this on Shelley Tasker's show on.
I'll ping it
on
over
Wednesday
to you
night
on Zuckerberg,
on Facebook.
Sugar Mountain.
We can play it to people, that there won't be any audio, unfortunately. So, what I'm basically saying is that although we have this concept of what Mountain Dew is, and we can look at all those websites and those pictures, there's a very good chance that this has been going on for quite a long time. Maybe this has always been the case. Maybe whatever caused the Mountain Dew phenomenon is something that was available 100 or 200 years ago as well, because the level of decimation is pretty identical. Big shout to Sheep Farm in the chat. We can see here that, like, apart from a couple of lone things, everything has been vaporized, and it looks just like California and the other places that I mentioned. I won't reel them all off because it would just get Al Gore to get hard on, wouldn't it? So tonight the subject is world fairs. I'm not going to say too much because Becky and Andy PG have got all of their stuff prepared, but it's a subject that we've mentioned on the show many, many times.
Everyone knows, like, I'm a quite big fan of John Levi's work.
Yep.
He's done a lot of research into the world.
We reference it quite often, but
Yeah.
one thing we've never done is go really into detail about what these world fairs were, what they're supposed to have been, what the official story is, and what part they might play in this phenomenon of the reset and the bridge between the old world and the new world. What is going on there? So we are going to have a little bit of a seat shuffle. I'm going to go and sit in the armchair and just have fun with this presentation. Becky, you're going to stay over there because you need your computer.
I've made it big so I can move that.
Yeah, Becky can
Okay.
go here, and I'll go into your seat
Yeah,
and just play around
absolutely.
with the buttons, and I can move the Schwab show around. Just to stress before we get started, this is very much Miss Becky's presentation. Yeah, this is
Okay.
all her research. Like, all I did was go to Prague with her, and we had a look around the World's Fair sites. But this is, you know, she's done a lot of work. This
No
is.
pressure.
No, I'm just saying, you know, I don't want. I'm not taking any of the credit because I know how much work you've put into this. So, shout out to Becky S.
Okay, so I'm just going to get.
Also, shout out to Neil. He's bought some merch. He's got himself a T-shirt and some Coviet playing cards.
Oh, great shout! Thank you, Neil. That supports us a great deal. Thank you for that. So yeah, here's Becky's slideshow here, and you know how to do the rest of the buttons. Thank you,
Yes,
Andy
mate,
PG.
yeah.
All right, I'm going to go and sit over in the armchair.
Also, shout out to DJ D. That's what I'll say. I went to the second bit. He spent a considerable amount in the archive as well.
Oh, nice one. Much
Excellent.
appreciated, guys.
Just so you know, guys, there's ladies' vest tops.
I think
up
he
on the
bought
website.
himself a nice Ra Perel bundle there. The
Yeah,
three-piece,
the full deal.
That's good
but
purchase, mate.
you guys, because the weather is hot at the moment, the harp technicians have been working hard to fuck the weather up.
We've got vests as well now. I think
Yeah,
they're
vests
short, they should
and,
be shorts in there
and
too.
women's vest tops. If you guys want to get on there, maybe if we've got a few, we could do some kind of deal at the end of the summer. Maybe if you want to, I don't know, 3 for 2 or something like that, Lance. Maybe
I'm sure we can do
we
something.
could do something with Schwab, something together. Right, should we have a little shuffle? Becky S investigates.
Oh dear.
Right, so hang on, let me just turn me down, turn Becky up. Right, there we go.
Can you turn me on, Mike?
Which one are you? You are 3, yeah?
Yeah,
Lot-
number 3
yeah,
over
let's
in
turn
the
you up.
armchair. Hello.
Number 3.3. Right. Is this the first image, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool.
That's number 1.
Right, should we give a little intro?
What's the World Fair?
Yeah, well, let's just give a little intro into what
Have you
what
been reading my notes? You can see it from there, can't you?
I couldn't actually. No, literally, I could not see that. I can now if I squint. Even my
Mate, this
glasses
mouse
on.
is shady, man. What?
Use the mouse. Use the
Yeah,
mouse.
yeah, no, I will.
Use your auxiliary,
The auxiliary Michael.
Michael.
Right. Right, so the World's Fairs. So essentially, if you haven't heard of the World's Fairs, they still go on today, but they're much different to how they were previously in the last 3 centuries now.
Yeah, now they're just sort of trade exhibitions.
Yeah,
and
trade
things like that.
expos, and they're kind of as opposed to in the old days, we'll call it the old world. They used to have like a schwabbery of all different. There was like technology, pharmaceutical, agriculture.
It'd be absolutely everything.
literally
It'd cover
everything.
the whole city.
It was fucking massive. But now what they do these days in little expos, they kind of have like an IT one, they'll have a software one, and they'll kind of like, they won't have it all together. So if we just have it, I won't look it up, but if you just like Google World's Fairs and go onto like Wikipedia. Okay. So I'm going to hand over to Miss Becky here. Yeah, let's just hand over to Miss Becky.
Right. Okay, so literally the first thing that I've written down is what were the World's Fairs. That's why I thought that Lance was reading my screen.
Okay.
And then I put according to Wikipedia.
Right. Okay. Bearing in mind, I haven't read your notes
I
at
know.
all. I haven't read any
knew
notes.
what you were going to ask. According to Wikipedia, a World's Fair, also known as a universal exhibition or an expo, is a large international exhibition designed to showcase the achievements of nations. These exhibitions vary in character and are held in different parts of the world at specific site for a period of time, typically between 3 and 6 months. Now, that sounds pretty boring, doesn't it? You know,
It
if you were
doesn't-
just going to look at it, you're
When
like,
you
oh,
say
okay.
the word fair, it doesn't sound very fairground-like,
No.
does it? You know.
So the reason why we're looking into them is when we look closely at the evidence, they actually provide a link between many of the mysteries and conspiracies that we see today, like with the resets and lost technology and all that kind of thing. And the reason why I like looking into it and telling people about them is because if you're not into the conspiracy world and you're not into esoteric stuff, they're actual buildings that you can go and look at. The physical buildings that you can go and look at, and you can be like, that doesn't make any sense.
Which we did.
Which we did. So it's a good sort of intro into questioning everything.
That's it. Questioning life.
Yeah.
Oh, politics.
So yeah, they can show people who never question the reality we live in that there is proof as a society we've been lied to, and therefore we can change it. We should have free energy, we should have sound and frequency healing, and we should have abundance, and we should all live in a peaceful society.
Absolutely.
So, the theory. Are you going to put the?
Yeah, let's do
picture
it. Should we share the screen? Let's do it. Lance, how do we get that big
Why is
like
that
that?
not big?
There's a zoom. There's a zoom in at the top.
Oh, yeah.
No, not there. Not there.
In the middle.
In the middle.
Oh, right, yeah.
It's quite temperamental. That PDF document. Use the little sidebar at the side to scroll down.
The mouse is shady. There we go. Here we go. Right.
There's only 93 of these slides. I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Fuck. Right, here we go. Right.
Yeah, just get the zoom right and then just tap the little arrow to go up and down.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, so what image is this, Becky?
This is just a general image of one of the World's Fairs, and same with the next one.
What do you know? What year that was from?
No, these are all just random ones that I found. just showing the scale. This are all just random.
I mean, look at the fucking size of this.
Yeah.
Seems quite a lot to build it just for only 3 to 6
Yeah, they were
months.
only temporary buildings.
For a temporary structure, look at the size of it. Shall I move on to the next one?
Yeah.
Fucking look at this. So this isn't actually a photograph, is it?
No, that looks like
So
a
this is
painting.
an artist rendition.
That'll be like 1855 somewhere
Yeah.
around there. But yeah, the next few just show a couple of the other World's Fairs.
Awesome.
So
look
you
at
see these buildings everywhere. You see them in India, all sorts of places. They've all got the same architecture and statues and everything. That's Chicago.
that. Look at that. All temporary, guys, yeah? Allegedly. So that's 1893, look.
Yeah, and apparently all of these were built. All of the landscaping, all of the construction, all of the planning, the approval, and all of the actual building work ready to open, all within a couple of years.
And, I mean, if you think about it, I know times have changed and monetary values have changed, but, I mean, could you imagine building this today? Look at it. That would cost you, how fucking...
1893, isn't that like,
millions of dollars, pounds. What, I mean,
how many years before that? Before they had a Great Fire in Chicago? Is that like 10 years before?
I'm not sure. Do you want to Michael that as you in the Michael chair? But yeah, I mean, look at this. These guys also just quickly. I mean, John Levi says this a lot on his videos. He breaks down images. Oh, picture. Look, there's fucking no one here.
No.
Look at all this grand architecture, and there's no fucker here. There's like a few people milling around. And it doesn't look like a sufficient amount of people. Can you imagine if this was here today? Like, this would be flooded with tourists, everything. Wouldn't it?
Oh my god! Oh my god! I just googled the Great Chicago Fire.
It's not 1933, is it?
The first thing it says: the fire killed approximately 300 people and destroyed roughly 3.3 square miles of the city. I'm not joking.
Excellent.
Wow.
Including over 17,000 structures.
This is a holographic construct.
It doesn't say what year. Wait a sec. That's mental. Oh, 1871.
Okay, so this is post.
Allegedly.
Yeah, well, that'll
Yeah,
be to get rid
allegedly, yeah.
of, that'll be to get rid of the buildings that weren't
Yeah,
temporary.
but we're going to go into that
Yeah.
later on. So I move on to the next one. Let's go.
Yeah, there's one more just to show the
Just
style
to wet,
of buildings
wet the
that
whistle.
that were included, that we still see today everywhere.
Fuck me, look at this. Look at all these statues and
Yeah, well,
This
the
is-
statues is something that we're going to look into
is
later on
just-
when we went to Prague.
all of this is so it's just incredibly intricate.
Obviously very temporary. Right, so the next thing, that is a map of Tartaria, which a lot of people have probably heard of Tartaria, but the theory is that the unified civilization was the Tartarian civilization. So you can see on the map where it was, and also these buildings spread all the way over into Europe. So it's that whole landmass. You also have the Great Wall of China. I showed you that video the other day.
Yeah,
didn't I?
yeah, we looked at that.
Where it's actually facing towards China.
Yeah.
And the theory is that whatever happened to the Tartarians, it facing towards China. Why can I hear myself?
Sorry, that's
And
me.
the
Sorry.
theory-
Ignore me.
I don't like hearing myself. Don't
Sorry,
do that.
I'm trying to get my screen working over here so I can see what you're seeing on my tablet.
Yeah, so whatever happened to the Tartarians, this leads into the mud flood and all the evidence that we see of some kind of cataclysm happening, whether it was a war, whether it was some kind of weapon, like we're seeing now.
Potentially, yeah.
Potentially, that wiped it out. So the inheritors of the land needed a way to control the population and introduce the new inhabitants to their new way of life and technology that they can control.
So what you're saying is that the quote unquote controllers of the time, they seized the opportunity of the cataclysm to then
Take
control
over,
the public.
Yeah, to then take over the land, take over the buildings. All the buildings that were found dead.
Found dead. Excellent.
Yeah, a lot of these
Michael.
buildings. A lot of these buildings, they don't say built, they say founded.
Wow.
Which, when you look into the fact that these buildings could have been using free energy technology, and they didn't know how to use it, then they would have been found dead.
We'll come to that later.
But let me
Yeah.
tell you, unbelievable.
Right, should we move on here?
Yeah.
That's-
So this is a
I
bit
think
of mud
that's-
flood
I-
evidence. This is
Got-
Russia.
I just want to say, I think that's really interesting that you've just said that it doesn't say when they were built.
Mm-hmm.
It says when they were founded, and I've seen that in accounts and stuff. Founded in this year. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's a really important.
And that's
point.
a great bit of green language, yeah. Found dead. Founded. Interesting. Right,
Yeah,
so what have we got here?
This is one
Becky?
of the pictures from Russia, which is where Tartaria was. And there are a lot of excavations that have happened in Russia. And there's actually, I can't remember his name because I can't pronounce it.
Yeah.
There's a Russian YouTuber that has been looking into the whole Tartaria thing.
Is this
and
it?
he
Top
is in
left-hand
Russia.
corner, yeah?
I'm not sure.
So, guys, if you want to look into this particular video, I mean,
it probably is that
you
one.
copy the text there or screenshot it, whatever.
This is something that I saved when I was doing my research
For
a year
sure.
ago.
I mean, look
so.
at this. So, like, where I've got the cursor on the screen, fuck me, that's ground level, yeah? Like, what we know is ground level.
Mm-hmm.
And then look at this, there's a whole nother level down there. Interesting.
The next photo's in America. I can't remember what town,
Wow.
but yeah, not quite sure where all that mud's come from.
It's a lot of dirt.
I remember seeing these type of photos for the
Fuck
like
me,
I
look,
say,
it's as tall as the fucking building.
for the
innit?
first
Yeah.
time in 2018 when all of this was first coming to the forefront, and I was just thinking, how have I not heard about this before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look at
Well,
the
how have I
size
not
of
seen
this.
this before?
Look at the size of this piece of machinery, whether it's an engine or whatever. I mean, look, the fucking size of that.
Yeah, so basically, these couple of pictures were just to prove that these structures were there before whatever happened around 1850.
You can
so
see look,
the next stage that the people who are taking it over would have to do is explain why these buildings were there, but also they had to refurbish them,
Yeah.
give them a reason that they're there. Like, we built it in 2 years. No, you didn't. You refurbished it. You cleared out all the mud. You painted, give it a lick of paint, built some extra little merch stands or whatever, and called it a fair. And
Put
said
some
that
tacky signs on it.
Yeah, it's just
yeah.
so that you could clear a vast area of the city.
And destroy a load of the buildings which were previously there.
Yeah.
But we'll come to all that. Right, moving on to the next slide.
Moving on
here.
to the one from the new John Levi one.
Oh, yeah. Look at this. It's
Eat
just
your
tasty.
heart out, John Levi.
Shout out to John Levi. Love your work, my man.
So again, this just another slide that proves that these buildings were there before the World's Fairs.
So this is the picture here in the colour 1915. That's a World's Fair, right?
Yeah.
And then they're saying that they built all these structures. Well, that building, I know it's a screenshot of a video, but you can see it a lot clearer. The same buildings pictured here were in 1878. So it doesn't make much sense, does it? Their narrative.
No.
Fucking
Another
look at
one
that,
that's
yeah.
Russia.
It's a whole nother. Look at this, a whole 2 stories, and who knows if there's another one. Mad.
Right. So now we're moving on to what happened to the people,
Yep.
because obviously, if you're going to be changing everything around, we've seen in recent times that if you don't get the, Britney Spears, then we're going to cart you off to a camp and you're not allowed out
I read a
until you
report,
agree.
33 million people in Britain are mentally ill. No, but not.
That was a very, very poignant use of that button, Andy PG.
Yeah. So basically, you would be possibly under threat of being carted off to one of these now unused palaces that they would have repurposed for a mental asylum, because we see the same mud flood windows at the bottom on all of these, and we also see the same sort of like architecture. And I've got I think 3 of these. Yeah. So if you scroll down to another
Do you
one,
just
see
want to
the
quickly
spire on
just
top.
explain the mud when you say mud flood windows, just
Well,
for people
right-
that don't know?
Okay, so right at the bottom,
Should we just go up to one of these pictures? Then you
one of the rules is windows down, stairs up. So if you see on a building, you've got stairs up to the main entrance, but you've also got windows that are below the
Below ground level.
So you'll see sometimes you just see a lintel, you won't even see the
Yeah, sure.
window,
Yeah.
because obviously they layer up the paving and stuff on the outside. So the theory is that when what happened, they sort of they made a new entrance, they made a new doorway and put steps up to it.
Sure.
So you see that a lot. So if you scroll back to the mental asylum one, you see really clearly on this.
Just down here, look.
You've got your steps up to the main entrance,
Yeah.
the new main entrance.
So are you sort of like suggesting that
this
new-
building's been refurbished
the
after.
the repurposed entrance that has got steps to it? The reason
Yeah.
it's got steps up to it is because it used to be a window.
No.
No, they've just made a new entrance.
Yeah.
When they've refurbished it, they've
This would have I would imagine this would have either been a window like these. Look, you've got one coming out here and one coming
Yeah,
out
but that's
that, and
what I'm
they've
saying,
turned
'cause-
it into a doorway.
Because if you were making your own doorway, you would probably just make it at ground level. But
Yeah.
that looks like the window didn't happen to be quite at the right level for
Sure.
the ground. So that's why, okay. That
yeah,
makes
you
sense.
see that a lot on these old buildings. On all the work that I've done on Burnley, you see it everywhere.
Yeah, so this is a little glimpse into mine and Becky's relationship. When we're walking around, we're always pointing out mud flood windows to each other on buildings. Yeah, it's just our little thing.
Because it's also sort of generally believed when talking about these subjects that those who came afterwards, like the inheritors of these buildings, basically didn't have the skills of the people that initially built them, right?
Yeah. There's
that's
a
why
lot of
you would use a
interesting stuff where
window-
you talk
use
like
a
Roman
window there as a
cement.
door if it's already there, rather than making a new one.
Yeah, I've not put it in, but there is a lot of interesting stuff about Roman cement or natural cement, which they basically forgot how to make it. Because, back then when knowledge was passed down through generations and you'd have families making building materials or
That
whatever
would be their
for
family
that would be their
trade. Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And they'd have apprentices and it'd be master apprentice forever and ever and ever. All of a sudden, everybody around the world forgot how to make natural or Roman cement.
Like
And it
how
was
they forgot to
rediscovered
do
a
the
couple of
moon
years
landing.
ago. Was it a couple of years ago?
Yeah,
We looked
the
we
first
looked
I
it
heard
up,
of it was
didn't
when
we?
you showed me this. Yeah. They say that, but I mean, this is again like, what do they say about the quote unquote moon landing technology? Oh yeah, we just
forgot.
just
We
forgot,
lost it.
Fucking clown. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Should we move on to the next slide, Miss Becky?
Yeah, so this one is.
Oh yeah, look, you
yeah,
can see
look
the
at
little
spire.
windows here. Look, yeah, look at that fucking spire. But yeah, you can see, look down here, the windows, the mud flood windows, all at ground level.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is we're potentially just seeing like the top portion of the building above what we call ground
Yeah,
level.
it would have gone like one, maybe two levels lower than that. And this is just an England one. Just I thought I'd pick a few random
see,
ones
look how
around the world.
amazing this structure is.
Yeah,
Look, and it's
because
just
you
fucked.
clearly make something so palatial for crazy people.
Yeah. We've all seen in Hollywood movies and stuff like when they depict a mental asylum, it's always some like massive, scary looking building, and do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
very
in,
much
in
like
a way
this.
as well. We've kind of been conditioned from being young to fear buildings.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah, for sure. Let's go here.
Right. So then, what happens to the children?
Fuck me, look, it's Greta in the middle.
So once you've got rid of all the dissenting parents, what do you do with the children? And obviously, children don't have very good memories. So
Money making opportunity here.
yeah, so anybody under the age of 5 would probably be sent on an orphan train, being given a new life. It still was going on for years and years and years. It's still happening, really.
So when we were having a little look into this, it said that often this was forced
Yeah.
upon the kids, like forced orphan.
Yeah, a lot of the parents do. The parents were promised that their children will be given, a new life in a wonderful place. Very often they were sent to workhouses.
I mean, look at all this.
Until they got adopted.
This isn't a small amount of people, ladies and gentlemen. This is
a prominent number of Hollywood people, I believe,
Hundreds of thousands of
claim to
children
be
were taken.
orphan trained.
yeah.
Yeah.
Should we go next slide?
Yeah, the next one just shows a couple
So
of
if you-
newspaper clippings
Yeah,
that I
yeah,
thought were
yeah.
quite creepy.
Yours for the asking.
Mm-hmm.
So George wants to play.
He wants to play catch,
Oh,
but he needs a
catch.
daddy to complete his team.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's weird. Mm-hmm. They'd like to be your Christmas gift.
But they've got terrible fringes.
That's fucking weird, man. Honestly.
Yeah, it's creepy.
Is that a watermelon or a bowling ball?
I think
he's
it's a
holding?
bowling ball.
I
Doesn't
don't
look-
want to play catch with a bowling ball.
Wow. It might be like a football. I don't know. Black leather football, peasant ball. I don't know.
So now this leads us on to back to the World's Fairs again.
Oh, so here we go. So we've got incubators, yeah? So I didn't bring it up when, Lance, when you just mentioned it then about a few prominent celebrities. So Jerry Seinfeld, a famous American comedian, he's not so well known in Europe, but he's popular over there. His dad, on an interview, he said his dad was from these.
What, his dad was an incubator, basically?
Apparently so, yeah. He was quite serious about it. So
apparently these incubator babies, they were just showing them off. When you actually look through and Google incubator babies at the World's Fairs, the official story is that they were showing the medical miracle,
the technology
that they could save preemie babies by putting them in these incubators, and how wonderful technology is.
Yeah. Look, this dude's holding a baby here. Like,
There's some really, really creepy images of nurses
it
who
actually
look like
says-
demons holding these children.
He says with living infants on the
Yes.
side.
Yeah.
Look at. I mean, look at these. These people don't look friendly, do they?
No.
Why?
But that's the official story. They were because this was part of the technology that they were apparently trying to show everybody. Look how wonderful we are. We've managed to do this. But when I look further into it, there is actually evidence of these babies being sold and raffled as prizes.
Yeah, it's prizes.
Yeah.
Well, like, so you can go to a fair instead of winning a goldfish,
Yep.
you win a baby.
Yeah.
Imagine that, right? So you think about that, guys. In the day and age we live in now, like if you want to adopt a child or something like that, there would be such a vigorous screening process involved in every aspect of your life. Here, you can just fucking buy probably, I don't know, 50-cent raffle ticket and go home with a fucking baby.
Or you just win on the hoopla or something where you chuck the little ring over the bottles.
Can you imagine the nonces queuing up for this? Also, just on that, so you can see in the background here all this grand architecture. Look at the window, around the windows and stuff. Now, this building here looks like some peasants built it.
Why does it look like all the people in these photos? It looks like they've just been given a bunch of random clothes out of a box, and they've just like
It doesn't look
their
natural.
clothes on. And also, here's an important question. Right? Okay, so if they're showing off the incubators, and that's the line, where did the babies come from?
I was gonna say that earlier.
Yeah, well, there's so much more to this. I've tried to. I could literally sit here for a week.
So
and
this
talk
is
about all
this is a whole show on its own.
This is another thing where if you look at the Cabbage Patch Kids and that sort of thing, there's a big rabbit hole in that I can't even begin to
Have
get
you seen
into
the
on
stuff
this
from
show.
Mind Unveiled on that?
Yeah.
They're amazing.
Yeah, hours and hours and hours of it.
But yeah, so I mean, if we just quickly going back to the architecture, so the narrative is that these buildings were put up temporary. Yeah, well, I'm saying that this probably wasn't in the background, but this here was, that they're under here, this little peasant shelter.
Yeah.
That they would have erected that, I reckon, because this doesn't look like any of this.
No, but if you go to the next one, I found the actual newspaper clipping from 1909.
Oh, so this is Ernest.
Which is on the the thumbnail.
Yeah,
Baby
can
Ernest.
we, Lance? How do we get the thumbnail? Can we just take a sec to appreciate the thumbnail?
It's fantastic.
You need to click on the orange icon at the bottom, which is PowerPoint.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's the orange folder thing.
Oh
Yeah.
no, that's me.
that is you, Miss Becky.
There's Becky working hard. So if you scroll right up to the top.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
here
we need to talk about this this image, because Andy PG was very, very strict with me when he had me creating this image, right? We were there and he was like, make Al Gore do this. No, I want him to be holding the stick in this hand and the baby in the other. I was like, mate, Al Gore is not going to be able to do all of that you want. I'm going to have to do most of this myself.
This was a long-winded thumbnail.
We were there
We
for
had
like
to get
3
Baby
or 4
Ernest
hours.
in there.
Right, so so I'll explain the significance
So
of
we'll
Baby
start.
Ernest.
So hang on, we'll just appreciate the thumbnail. So we've got this grand architecture with all the spires which are harnessing from the ether, the free electricity. Here in the forefront, look, you've got your peasant attractions, your little, your dodgems or whatever, bumper carts.
Win a baby.
You win a baby, yeah. And here you've got Grandmaster Ginny welcoming the peasantry into the World's Fair, and he's holding Baby Ernest.
Yeah.
He's got a tag saying 1909.
Yeah, this is the earliest evidence that I can find of a baby being sold and or raffled. But that was 1909 at Seattle World's Fair.
And then you've got
It
me
was
and
auctioned
Becky
as
S.
a prize.
You've got me and Becky S. We've teleported here into the... Right, so how do I get... Lance, which is to get the presentation back up? That one. There we go.
Yeah. So do you want to read that?
Okay, so Seattle, a baby boy, 1 month old, the charge of the Washington Children's Home Society, was one of the prizes offered at the exposition. His name was Ernest, and maybe he will have a surname if the winner holding the proper ticket comes to claim him. L.J. Covington in charge of the society booth. Yeah.
Oh, really?
In charge of the society booth in the agricultural building said that no one had claimed the baby. The winner will not know what the prize is when he comes to the booth, and Mr. Covington is anxiously waiting to see what will happen when the ticket holder makes it.
Can I just ask?
So they didn't even know they'd won a baby.
If LJ Covington is in charge of the society booth in the agricultural building,
Why is he raffling off a baby?
does that mean he's the boss of the cabbage patch? the agricultural building.
I just thought
He's growing the babies. He's growing the babies. The stalk
He's growing the
Weird, isn't it?
babies.
stalk delivers the seed to his Schwabian cabbage patch.
Hashtag me too.
Sorry, I had to.
So
get in
right, yeah, no, mate, that's excellent. So yeah, essentially, yeah,
I clipped that out of the whole page of the newspaper.
This is a
It's
physical-
that is
That's
genuinely
wicked.
the newspaper from
this is a
1909.
legit thing that was going on. They were fucking raffling babies
They were giving
off.
away so many babies, no one
And you
even
didn't
claimed
even
it.
know what the prize was, and then some fucker comes and hands
They only
you
wrote a
kid.
story about this baby because this is the one that no one claims. They just got bought. That that everyone's full.
So when
They're giving
Becky-
all the babies away.
When Becky told me about this, I think you messaged me, didn't you? We were chatting messaging, and I quickly did a little dive, and it says at the last, the most recent thing on just a top of the Google search in the peasant sphere was, I think it was 2007 when they said that it still hasn't been solved. Like what happened to him?
Yeah, nobody knows.
Baby
what
still
happened.
hasn't been claimed.
Still
It's
hasn't been
sat there.
claimed. Nobody knows where he
in a little
went,
basket.
what's happened to him, and so that's why I thought it
think-
was appropriate
they're
to
making
have Baby
yeah.
Ernest with Grandmaster Ginny here.
I think they're making a big deal out of it though, to make it seem like this was the only time it happened.
Yeah,
So that if you
yeah.
search for babies being raffled at a fair,
This
the
is the
only
one
thing,
you'll get.
and this is a recurring theme. As
To
we
make
have
it seem like a
discussed.
one-off.
They will make a big fuss out of one thing, so that
Yeah.
if you start looking into it, the only thing you can find is that.
It's a Madeleine McCann.
Yeah.
Yeah, hashtag Maddie.
So if you go to the next one, this was in
Oh, hang on.
1911.
It won't go down. Oh, it's the mouse and it's fucked. Here we go. Oh, hang on. No, we've missed one. Here we go.
Yeah, there it is. So
When
this
a
is 1911.
When a Paris foundling hospital held a baby raffle.
So this isn't World's Fair related, but this is
hang
another
on.
baby raffle.
I've just spotted. This is 1911.
Yep.
Yeah, so a nice little 911 in there.
Winning ticket number 33 in this baby raffle.
Interesting.
So
This
yeah,
is
that's
mad.
just another little bit of proof.
And
that
you
they
can
were-
see, look at the background. Again, it's grand architecture. It's all the same.
Yeah, the way that all this links in is basically just proving what happened to the people, because that's the main question that I get asked when I say about all of this stuff. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, it's what-
well,
what
how
became
would,
of the people.
How would everybody go along with it?
Yeah.
And-
And just on that note, right?
Yeah, now we
If
know.
you have a traumatic experience, right, what the brain does, the brain physically blocks it out, so it makes it impossible for you to remember unless you go through rigorous types of memory recovery therapy and stuff. So, like a lot of these kids, if this was happening to them, later on in life, their brains might have completely just blocked all of this out.
Yeah.
It is a possibility. I'm just putting out there right now. So some of the viewers, a lot of them know John Levi's work. He often shows this image. Becky, do you just want to explain what this image is of here?
No, you can do that.
Okay, so this is an official World's Fair passport. That's right, a passport. I've never been to a fairground when I was a kid where you need a passport. So this is expires 1899. Expires 18. I can't see any other dates on here. So yeah, apparently you needed a passport to go into the World's Fair. And this one, I can't make out a lot of these scribbles on here. Maybe that's a little rabbit hole for someone else to look into. Is some of the World's Fair passports? I've only ever seen this one. Because in John Levi's videos, he says that his mum attended a World's Fair and she had one of these.
Yeah.
So, like, there's obviously more of them around, but this is the only one. If you Google World's Fair passports, this is the
I've
only
tried finding them
really
myself.
one that comes up. So that's another little interesting thing. But John Levi's mum said she had one and she brought it out and showed him. So they are around. Okay, next slide.
And this is just off the. I took a quick snap of it.
So in the World's Fair, with your passport and stuff like that, it's really weird. They used to give you like a blank work booklet.
Which
You-
goes
you-
to
you- you
well,
explain
basically,
this,
this
yeah.
book backs up the theory that these were for re-educating the public.
Indoctrination camps.
Yeah. Because I mean, I know when we've done like school trips and things like that, you get a little workbook because you go into a place to learn. But
Yeah.
a lot of these workbooks, it was adults using them. It wasn't the children using them.
It's like a Victorian NPC reprogramming factory.
And the fact that it says like week, hour, subject, instructor. These weren't just like, oh, write some notes about your fun day out at the fair.
That's what I was about to say. Like, this doesn't, to me, if I was a kid going to a fair, this doesn't feel like fun.
No.
Having to do this. Look, I've got an instructor, for fuck's sake.
Well, if this is sort of going on at the same time as like the Industrial Revolution, you could say that this was literally like a peasant like education centre as well.
Yeah.
So is this, if you look into this, I wonder what their official narrative is for this. I wonder what they say this was for
I have
people like
no
us.
idea. I've done so much digging into all of the other more important stuff. That
I
this was
can't
just...
understand how this would be deemed as a fun thing to do. A day out, let's go to the World's Fair and I have to take notes on everything and report to my instructor. Like, what the fuck's weird, man?
So then we get on to the actual evidence of basically that it's all a bit of fuckery. So
look at the size of this.
Yeah. So I've got a lot of facts to read out here. So that first section was basically just explaining what the World's Fairs were and what happened to the people. What happened to the people who didn't agree with it? What happened to the people who did agree with it? They were re-educated. And obviously the children were either put on orphan trains, sent across the country, sent to work camps, all this sort of stuff.
Yeah. Of the parents who didn't agree with it.
Yeah. And then now we have the chance to look at the actual physical evidence of the buildings that are still there, the buildings that burnt down, all of this sort of stuff. So what we're looking at here is the Crystal Palace, but I'll go through a couple of other things first. So every World's Fair made a significant loss. Now, unless they were lying about the cost to construct the actual fairs, then they only spent money renovating the buildings. Berlin, it was an investment of 10 million Reichsmark, and it made a deficit of 2 million. Lerbeck, it was 750,000 visitors. It made a deficit, demolished a residential area built. Nuremberg, 2.5 million visitors, still made a loss. St. Louis in 1904 lost $8.5 million, which is the equivalent of $250 million today. And yet they carried on doing these World's Fairs. And these people were apparently the sort of industrialist, capitalist people of their age.
People who would want to make money.
They would want to make money. So unless they weren't spending that amount of money investing, because obviously there's a massive tax dodge as well.
Yeah,
And we've got to remember when you say millions, right? A million back then, it goes without saying, is that in today's money,
that's
you
what
can
I'm
basically
saying.
say it's like $1 billion.
Yeah, the St. Louis one, it was 8.5 million that they lost then, but that's equivalent to 250 million now.
So Becky, you said, just give us the, you reeled off, what was the visits, was it 2.5 million visitors? To one of them?
Yeah, Nuremberg.
So, I mean, fuck me.
They still made a loss.
These populations aren't even that big at the time. For 2.5 million people to attend.
One thing that I can't find as well is ticket prices.
Maybe it was compulsory.
Not on the
to
really
attend.
early ones. That's what I was trying to find.
Is how much it cost to attend the World's Fair.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind they didn't have vehicles and stuff like that. Like, people travelled from across the country, allegedly.
Yeah, which is interesting when I get to the Crystal Palace.
You'd have to stay places, like, you've got no refrigeration for food and
movement, every conversation, every connection, every seed you plant, ripple. Don't let anyone ever tell you that one person can't make a change. Bullshit.
On the dawn of a harvest sun, are we speaking the truth in the sharpest tongue? Feast on a rabbit, served with a garnished lunch. We got the hardest puns. Mind master, trust your ability. NPC, it's an IQ deficiency. They're living in mental captivity. I'll never submit to these bloodline dynasties. On the dawn of a harvest, crops are sown to trade corn with the farmers. Sometimes I want out of this nightmare society, like I was born with the Amish. I've got the formula mastered, claiming our power, there's more to be harnessed. I'm no ordinary artist, try wage war, I'll be forming the armies. QRA-NOX, that's Equinox. Our essence is infinite, not confined to meat suits or Tesla bots. On the night of a harvest moon, on the dawn of a harvest song, we're telling them welcome to the Equinox. Welcome to the Equinox.
On the night of a harvest moon, I take flight to the farthest tomb. I meditate in the darkest room by the candlelight until the spark exhumes. On the night of a harvest, I see a silhouette hunter hold up a carcass. Any heartbeat's a target, and blood trails the ground like red carpet. On the night of a harvest moon, so sacred, silk on an ancient loom. Hooded robes in ritual rooms, pray all night from yesterday's moon. On the night of a harvest, farmers emerge and they set up a market. It's all business regardless, where your loot is bought and sold and bartered.
QRA-NOX, that's Equinox. Our essence is infinite, not confined to meat suits or Tesla bots. On the night of a harvest moon, on the dawn of a harvest song, we're telling them welcome to the Equinox. Welcome to the Equinox. On the dawn we glance to the east. We ain't scared of the mark of the beast. Performing sacred rituals, nobody but a shaman and me. If they wanna take me out, they better come with at least 33 Schwabi and flee. Cause I won't go quietly, they're gonna have to do more to silence me. That's the irony, lost in this messed up society. They wanna force their views on our offspring, teaching our children that gender's non-binary. This is social engineering to try fulfill transhuman agenda. Al Gore better come prepared, cause I ain't in the mood to be censored. QRA-NOX, that's Equinox. Our essence is infinite, not confined to meat suits or Tesla bots. On the night of a harvest moon, on the dawn of a harvest song, we're telling them welcome to the Equinox. Welcome to the Equinox.
I'm a freelance quantum gardener with a homemade combine harvester. So when I see your crops wilting, I got the organic rod that will harden them. This realm rotates in cycles, encounter rotational Solomon spirals. Masons build towers like Eiffel and vortex points to drain your vital. Simulacrums appear cyclical, toroidal electro-spiritual. The holosphere projects physical, the manifestational synergy's mythical. We got problems, parasitical inside this torus field is critical. Henceforth mankind is pitiful. Rise and shine, please explain.
You want to actually know my take about what's going on YouTube? I would say that the Orange Messiah has been charged by the ancient AI reptilians working through the ultra Hasidic Orthodox fake Jews who claim to be Jewish, and he is going to take over the world and implement AI.
Yo, it's Mr. Traumatic.
No, that's a rubbish.
The problem is you're a fucking retard.
If you're following Donald Trump, yes. He's going to lead you to exactly the same place as Joe Biden would. It's just less men with, less women with dicks.
Have we got anyone in the comment section watching now that's still on Team Trump? Because don't forget, we were having this conversation with Daddy Dragon.
Don't forget, guys, we've spoke about this. It's designed for you to like what he's doing. He's cutting out the trans shit. He's deporting all the immigrants that we don't want here and all of that shit. It's designed for you to like what he's doing. So if you buy into it, where's that?
Ooh, that was close.
The problem is you're a fucking retard.
That's if you're buying into it. That's.
So what's he doing here? What are these two breaking? President Trump is to sign an executive order to identify, punish, and deport anti-Semites. Oh, that's not so good.
So what he's actually talking about in this is he's specifically talking about legitimate immigrants like students and stuff who are here on a visa who excuse me, who protested anti-Israel and in favour of Palestine at college campuses. He's even talking about getting rid of all the left-wing pro-Palestinian professors.
He's banning Black Lives Matter.
He's basically he's in the pocket of the cube, essentially.
Trump signs executive order protecting children from gender mutilation. Like, even just not too long ago, even just suggesting that what was happening was children were being gender mutilated was officially like a right-wing hate crime. Which, you know, you would get if you said that in the wrong place, you would get asked to leave.
You have a strike on YouTube.
Yeah, you'd have to. Yeah. Now he's signing an executive order that means it's like in America, it's legally a fact. I mean, although guys, we do know this is a play, and it's a pretty good one at the moment. You can't help.
I did a great video, if I do say so myself, on Peasantron about the real reason for the what the Soviet Union did in 2020. And some people say, was it for the Britney Spears concert? Some people say, was it a transfer of wealth?
That video's had our biggest amount of feedback so far.
It was a really good video. We had a great conversation there.
Yeah.
And I think we came to the correct conclusion, but you'll have to go to Peasantron to check it out, guys.
And the plan is for the event, the presentation that me and Andy want to do is sort of like
part 2.
It's schwabbing everything together that we've been talking about recently.
Including the validity of the Holocaust. That's right, I said it on Friday night.
Talk about that at the event.
I just said, yeah, I might drop that at the event.
Brett Atkinson.
It's all relevant. It's all... What's going on now isn't possible because of that, but that's a whole other story. We're not going to get into it. But basically, from what you've got on the screen here, Donald Trump, he is very pro-Israel and little hats.
Lights, camera, action, that's it.
Okay, let me invite our first guest. It's customer services, long-time listener, performed at Raw Treat. Brixton Jesus, how's it going?
Greetings. Can everyone hear me clearly?
Yeah,
Good,
mate.
man.
Yeah.
Loud and clear.
Let's just
Excellent.
chat room. Let me know the levels. Is Brixton Jesus too loud, or are we the same level? Let us know. Is it all good?
Yes, man. Can everyone hear me? First of all, yeah, let me just big up all the names that are familiar to me, the Ramley, yeah? So, first of all, yourself, the General, Lance, big up to yourself.
Thank you very much.
Andy PG, big up to yourself.
Awesome, man.
Magix, Oma Beats, Eye for an Eye, Lord Dewsworth, Andy Pandy, everyone that you know that I'm familiar with, I want to say greetings to all of you, yeah?
Thank you
Clara
very much for joining us, mate.
King of Sting, and everyone else that I'm not 100% familiar with. I love you all. We're all part of this Ramley, yeah?
Respect.
Let me just introduce myself to the people that don't know me. My name is Mark Anthony. So you'll see me on Facebook as Mark Anthony or Brixton Jesus. Same on YouTube. And I'm an artist, activist, and I make 100% natural face and body butter, deodorant, and unisex fragrances with more natural products in development. I've been following Rise Above because it's very ironic that you and I started interacting on Facebook, Lance, before I really knew what Rise Above was about. Okay? But me and my brethren, we go down the rabbit hole a lot. He's the main codee that I have that I go down the rabbit hole with, and he put me onto you guys. And then I was like, hold on a minute. Lance, wait, I'm like,
I didn't know this.
Yeah, this is what I mean. This is all, you know, so at this point, we'd not connected properly yet, but after that he put me onto Rise Above, and that after that we had the phone call, that first initial conversation. And when we had that first initial conversation, I knew that we were on the same mission. We were navigating a different pathway to get there, but the mission was the same: to wake people up, to at least make them aware, to give them the option to make an educated choice, and to be the purveyors of freedom of choice and freedom of movement and freedom of autonomy over oneself. Sovereignty. long and short of it.
Sounds good.
When I got the opportunity to come to Raw Treat, I had to move hell and high water. I do removals. Somebody dropped a fridge on my hand. You know what I mean? So I almost never made it. But with prayer and rest and recuperation and determination, I made it. I marched across the cornfields and I managed to, literally link Lance on the stage.
You actually turned up at an opportune moment, right? Because I'm sure you remember this. I think it was roughly about 10 o'clock, maybe 9:30, 10 o'clock on the Saturday night. And I was I'd already performed like more than 1 or 2 sets. But before I'd just gone onto stage to do mic duties this particular time, someone had said, "Here, give me your finger. I'm going to give you a microdose of mushrooms." And I said, "Yeah, fine." And I put it in my mouth. But then when I was on stage and the lights were in my face and I was sort of mid-verse, I felt like something was flying towards my face and I sort of ducked on stage, like to avoid it hitting me in the face. But then I realised there was nothing there. And I was like, "Oh, right, okay. What's going on?" Right, I know it wasn't a microdose. It was just a dose. Someone had just microdosed me. And right as that has happened, then I hear this commotion behind me. Yo, I'm here. I turn around and you sort of came through the curtain at the perfect moment where I really needed to give the mic to someone that I could trust. Do you know what I mean? Because it was getting a little bit hairy.
And the wickedest thing is that I had absolutely no idea what took place because I was just fighting just to get there. I already told you personally what the mission was for me to get there. So I had my suitcase, I had my products, and I said, yeah. I linked up with a DJ, Nicky L. Not Nicky L.
Yeah, Nicky Longhurst.
Yeah, Nicky Longsworth.
Yeah, it was Nicky L. Yeah. And he was the one that guided me to the stage. And then, yeah, he let you know I was there. I came on, and then I took the mic, and I looked around to give the mic back because I wasn't trying to I didn't come to perform. You understand? So I never had no rehearsal neither. So I came there and I just thought, right, okay, man. I saw, man, put it this way, from one mic man to another, when you can see a mic man is fatigued and he needs a bit of help and you need to lift the weight off him. Yeah, that's all I knew. I didn't know anything else. So
yeah, it was the opportune moment, mate. It's like you turned up with a halo on.
Bro, I came in. Shout out to Pollyanna Readings, by the way, because she was part of my whole vibe as well. She had the big teddy with the Rise Above t-shirt on, which was basically the whole theme of how I came down to the teddy bears picnic. You know what I mean? Right. She was a whole vibe in the crowd because when we're performing, we like to interact with the audience. We like to interact with the crowd. They hand us stage props and we pull them on the stage and stuff. So I had to bring the bear on stage and stuff. And it turns out she was running the recovery tent the next day. So yeah, it was beautiful. And ever since then, I said, I'm gonna come. I'm gonna join you guys. But I've got so much technical stuff that I'm trying to set up. So right now, I'm here because I did a messenger convo with Terra earlier today to test my setup to see if it would be able to produce at least a basic bare minimum quality that I would want to come and join you guys.
Mate, the sound is crisp.
Okay. Yeah.
No, absolutely fine. Didn't you do a live the other day with Terra and someone else questioning was it Stephen Lawrence murder?
Yes, we were talking about the Stephen Lawrence and how that got inspired was, and I love the memories feature on Facebook is beautiful because it shows how consistent you've been for 10, 15 years. Yeah. So I always talk about stuff that I talk about. The thing is that people who connect with me, when they see my memories, you can see that 5, 10 years ago, I was saying the same thing. So the consistency is something that validates me within my community because serving my community is number one. And that's always been more important than music and entertainment to me, is serving my community.
Of course.
You guys provide a valuable community service. And that's why I stand beside you guys and why I love you as well, because ultimately, it's difficult, but we have to navigate it as best we can. And we're going to have a good time while we're doing it.
Try our best, mate.
Yeah, so literally right now, I decided to jump on and join you guys simply to say, as a customer, in terms of someone who enjoys the experience of being a viewer and someone who's actually had a chance to look behind the scenes as well and get to know what the ethics and morals of some of you guys are on a personal level. I want to give my feedback on both. One, I think you guys are solid. I love you for what you do. And I appreciate and admire all the hard work that goes into what you guys do. number one priority when I came to Raw Treat was I'm here to serve. So wherever it is that you need me to play, left back, right back, yes, I'm a striker. But if you need me at left back, if you need me in defense, that's where I'm going to play. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Of course.
And I wanted to be able to make sure that I'm not somebody that's coming with nothing to offer either. So my name is Mark Anthony, aka Brixton Jesus. I'm here to serve all of you that are watching. I make natural products, and I also shut down the microphone from time to time as well. As a customer, my customer feedback is that I love the service that you provide. I haven't bought anything from this, but I did win a bid in the meme auction.
Oh yes, yeah, the famous meme auction. Yeah.
So I've still got that rolled up on top of my wardrobe right now. So the thing is this, guys. If we want these things to exist, we have to find a way to financially contribute. Okay, moral support is great. Likes and shares are great. All of that is great. But if you can donate that $3.33 a month, please do. If you can buy some merch, please do. Because what these guys do is very important. They work very hard, and it took a lot of hard work, blood, sweat, and tears, sacrifice, and money out of their own pockets to do that. And if you've never been a boss that started something on your own, you wouldn't understand. But I do. So to anyone that doesn't know, that is just a watcher, I want to let you guys know that I have a little bit of insight from the inside as well. And what these guys are doing is pure. And if you've ever had any doubts about it, let me just tell you, I'm not from Dorset, I'm from Brixton. Okay? So when I came in, I saw and experienced, the true nature of what it was really about. And everybody that I met there, it was just beautiful. It was very diverse. There was plenty of different people from different backgrounds. And I'm still connected to so many people through Facebook and other things that still support me. Big up to Terra, who gave me a space on his table in the merch tent so that I could sell my natural products, my USB phone cables, and other things as well. Thank you very much, Terra, who refused to take any money from me afterwards, by the way.
Heavy.
Ramily is real. So that's all I want to say.
I've actually got a review here of some of your products here from Kirsty C.
Oh.
Think I bought some body cream and deodorant from you, Brixton Jesus.
Kirsty, if you say body cream and deodorant, you definitely did, because those are the only two natural products that I was selling. And yes, it was face and body butter and natural deodorant in body butter form. Thank you, Kirsty. Please, can you tell us right now what your feedback of those products was? I'd like to hear it. We'd like to read it.
The Empress got some, I think, body butter off you, and it was like she was like, "This is lush." She savoured every last little smidgen of it. Yeah, for real.
No, don't worry. I've still got your VIP package on the way. There's just a lot of stuff I had to set up and sort out. Plus, my daughter's in an elite, fortunately, she's gotten into an elite institution where she's studying applied theatre and film. So I've had to focus a lot on building her studio and setting her up.
Yeah, of course, mate. That's important.
Technically as well. So I've had to take time out and be dad for a bit. Plus, I got my twin boys as well. So it's a lot, But I'm here. You're going to see me a lot more often. I'm going to be a lot more active. And I'm quite happy to just chill out now, unless anyone has any questions or unless you guys have any questions.
Well, I was just going to say, well, first of all, mate, thank you very much for that glowing review. You come and met us. You came to the event.
Kind words.
Yeah, that means a lot. And, you were a great contribution, not just on stage with your products as well. Everyone that bought them was really happy. So, yeah, thank you very much for that. But all of that aside, I guess, how long was our treat ago now? That's 2022. So, yeah, it's 2 years ago now. I haven't had a chat for you for a while. What do you reckon is what is the craziest thing which has happened recently, which has blown your mind, or what is your take on the current zeitgeist of things at the moment as we're now in 2024, mate?
Right. I think right now there is a concentrated effort on out with the old, in with the new, in terms of the media indoctrination. That means the last batch of rappers, actors, producers, directors, people in the media that were influential, we're getting rid of you one way or another. Those who were strong enough to become gatekeepers are finding a way to air out your dirty laundry and get you out the way now.
Interesting.
This has been with Harvey Weinstein down to Diddy. So it's not. Sorry, go ahead.
So do you see it as like a changing of the guard almost? Like you lot are right, here's the new generation, the new class.
Yes.
Pre-programmed.
Yes. And also with the entertainers as well. Remember that in the 90s, we had Foxy Brown and Little Kim, and that was crass. We liked it, but it was crass. Let's just keep it real. Yeah.
Raunchy lyrics.
Right.
The rude girl, the bad bitch style was sort of being formulated through them.
Then we had Nicki Minaj that took it a bit further, which kind of started promoting, not only over promoting the sexuality, but promoting the ambiguous sexuality and blurring of lines of natural order as well. Okay. So we've gone from that now we've straight gone to the worst of the worst. They're not even being tongue-in-cheek anymore. We've got the Suki Hanas, the City Girls, Cardi B, and Megan Thee Stallion, and they are literally what I call whores of Babylon, along with Beyonce.
Because if you think about it, like what that middle bit where you had like Nicki Minaj, that's sort of when it went from the raunchy rude girl stuff to sort of like the porno-ish lyrics.
Yeah.
Right? So that was your
transition.
That was like your middle ground, like soft porn. But now the new generation, that like Sexy Red and all that's just like utter degeneracy to the fullest. It's not even well raps. There's no lyrical integrity.
Absolutely
it's just like
nothing.
literally saying slur words and pussy, hoe, bitch, over and over again. The Empress was repeating some of the lyrics to me. I can't remember if it's a Cardi B song, but it was something like I'll beat you till you piss. I'll beat you till you shit. And it was just like single syllable words about battering someone until they defecated. And it was like really, really poor. And I was like, wow,
awesome, mate.
Imagine all like the millions of kids singing that back to themselves. It's like
it's crazy. Now the thing is this, having a 16-year-old daughter as I do in this world is crazy. Fortunately for me, she likes Lana Del Rey. That's do you understand what I'm saying? She's not even into rap like that. She's into Lana Del Rey. She likes that pop stuff, and she got to, like, her thing is actually going to the concert and seeing her live. Yeah,
right.
Where everyone's wearing white, floaty fabrics, and I've listened to some of the Lana Del Rey music, and we all know you and I will overanalyze music and stuff. But I'm quite happy that she's listening to that stuff over Cardi B and all that nonsense.
That's sort of like the lesser of many evils, isn't it?
So much lesser.
If you're listening to Lana Del Rey or Taylor Swift compared to Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion.
Then you got your mumble rap.
Well, that's that's like that's the male version of a 16-year-old girl listening to Cardi B is a 16-year-old lad putting on his balaclava, putting a flick knife into his man bag, and then listening to mumble rap.
Let's take it out of music for a second, because that is more like the urban and black landscape, but we know that rap culture is the biggest pop culture there is. We know that right now. Pop culture, So let's take it out of those specific realms that are kind of just black people, because we've also got now this uprising in OnlyFans girls on podcasts talking like they're credible people and acting like because they make money doing what they're doing, it's okay to be doing what they're doing. But these women are on here after selling themselves, demanding respect. Nobody respects. Well, people respect honest hoes because they're making a living and they're just saying, well, this is what I give and this is the service I provide and this is, I get paid for it. But if you notice, right now, it's a time when people have never been so shameless. Now, I want to tackle the men's side of things. Because where we've got the masculinization of women, we've now got the effeminization of men, which is
100%.
turning the whole world upside down and inside out. Breaking down the family unit and making us easier to control overall as a result of that. The reason why I mentioned the things that I mentioned before is because they're all major contributing factors. And ultimately, the family unit of mother, father, and child or children is what is the strongest unit available. This is what we need to build. And that's what we need to uphold and maintain, the family. Families are strong. Single mothers and single fathers are weakened.
That's just simple maths. two parents is better than one. Whether
This
anyone
is
likes
back
it or
to
not.
like Yuri Bezimov, isn't it? It's what
Yeah,
it said.
yeah.
You have to demoralise a nation. Then you can just walk in, do what you want, and we see that all the time.
Well, in a matter of like 30 to 40 years, we've gone from the absolute demonisation of anyone that didn't fit into the regular marriage protocols. You know, single mums born out of wedlock was all a literal taboo, to where it's literally being championed. Now, I would say there's some happy medium in the middle without, like, you know, people being shunned from society for having a kid out of wedlock. I think most of us could agree that that's a little bit undesirable. But you can't deny that when that was happening, things were better. Sorry, we've got someone on the line. Let's have a four-way. Let's get this person on as well. Maybe they want to join the conversation.
Hey, I'm quite happy to just sit back. I've said my piece, so I'm quite happy to listen now.
Welcome to Rise Above.
Hello. Hello, Lance.
Who's this?
This is Rob Harper.
All right, Rob, how you doing?
I'm good, my brother. Just catching what your guest is talking about there, the way and what is coming out in the world now with Diddy and the links to Epstein, not links, but the similarities, the game that's being played on politicians has been
out
played
with the old
on.
in with the new.
It's a case of out with the old in with the new, but it's been exposed. In that sense, it's the old honey trap game that the spies used to play is being used on politicians, celebrities. But what your guest was saying there about Nicki Minaj and that and the music industry is turned upon its head in the sense of it's being manipulated to that sense. The degeneracy in the music business, you know, it's gone from being a wholesome thing. We know that pop music is created to entertain people, but it's just it's disgusting when you comprehend what's done to people. It's one of them things that when you look at that and then you look at the flip side of society and what's being done in society, we're being pushed in the breakdown of the family unit and what your guest was saying there.
That's what it's all
the
about.
Nuclear family. Yeah. And who's pushing this? You can look at the WEF and the WHO and the Kudnow-Kalergi plan to break down, you know, society in ways because they want to turn us from being...
I mean, I wouldn't say people like the WEF are actually doing it.
They're finishing it up.
Yeah.
This started, the plans for this were written hundreds of years ago, but it probably really started about 40 or 50 years ago.
No, but the George Catlin joke that it makes, it's not a case of it's an outward conspiracy. It's a conglomerate of people who work together. They're not a little group of people within. You've got all the different little societies, Christianity, Muslims, the different religions.
Mate, it's all of it. It's absolutely all of it.
Then you've got all the different little secret societies, which are like a spider's web across humanity, so that they encompass different people. You know, the Brotherhood of Masons goes from Christianity to the Islamic Brotherhood. So we can see these networks now, and this is, like you're saying, things are being exposed and brought forward.
Do you think they're being exposed or normalised?
I think, without sort of going into the esoteric world of what Brother Lee used to speak about, they're coming into the light because, I think they've been exposed because, whether you want to call it the universe or people are working together to bring it forward, not quite the BS of the Q movement, but the things are coming into the light, I would describe, because people are now people have got the knowledge to look at it. and say, oh, hello, that don't add up. And every one of us, or particularly people like us who can critically think, can look at things from a different perspective, read a book or two and read a thread or two and go down the rabbit hole, and then we pop back up and we start talking to our pals and go, that don't add up, does it? Dup, 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 dup. You know, the pattern. We all of us in a different way. You, when you made your Circo speech, you saw patterns in something and looked at it, and that's what I'd been down the same rabbit hole in a different manner. And when I saw your Circo speech, I was like, whoa, bloody hell, and somebody else is talking about it and knows about it. And I was like, oh, and that's where I came to follow you guys on Rise Above.
So you're an original then? Since day one, that's the start of all this, was when I did that, basically.
I've been down the rabbit hole for 15 years. My mother taught me to always ask questions. Let's talk the COVID pandemic, brilliantly. When it first came out, I was kind of like, whoa, what the fuck's going on here? Shit. Is it real? Whoa. And then my question was, is it a pandemic or an epidemic?
One thing we've just got to be careful about.
Yeah.
And then, it's just that if anyone needs any proper medical advice, they need to go to the World Health Organization.
Of course.
We don't give out medical advice.
We never do that.
But you know what made me go, shit, this ain't real. This is over. The day the Premier League announced that it was stopping, I was working in the building that houses the Premier League's office in Paddington. And the day before, somebody had taken a sickie and said they had COVID. So the next day...
What's that C word there?
Yeah, let's use some code words to avoid alcohol.
Sorry, I'm buggering. My apologies.
First time.
The day it was announced, we all had to come back. We had to come back in the next day, and there was 150 guys that had to be re-inducted into the site to understand the new rules with the DUOC. And the day that morning, 150 guys were standing outside the loading bay waiting for to go in groups of 10 to be re-inducted into how we deal with that. The world's media were camped out at the other end of the building at the front entrance of the Premier League's head office. And there was 50 people all around a little doorway that was no more than 4 meters by, a building's entrance. And they were all camped out. And you know what? Not one of those journalists turned round and went, what's all them people doing up there? Why are they all standing around? Shouldn't they be taking precautions like we're all being told to? And that was the day the penny dropped for me.
Yeah, everyone's got their different penny drop moment, I guess.
Yeah, no, that was my penny drop moment in what happened over those years. And it was like, well, this is me. And I was commuting into London every day, and the trains were like ghost trains. And it was so funny and weird and obscure, because that was when I realised it's like living in the Twilight Zone in that time.
Yep.
But the thing that comes with listening to you guys over those 2 years where you guys just started up, you boys had kept my sanity on a Friday night. It was like, it's somebody else, and there's somebody else talking about this stuff, and you as the general, that was most amusing.
Yeah, he comes out every now and then.
The funny thing was, a little group of my friends that I knew that like me, like us, we had a little WhatsApp group. And we started talking, and then we started adding a bit more. And then I just happened to, one example, somebody on Facebook sold a bag of kibble that I purchased for my dog. And we had a little conversation on the doorstep. And then the next thing, she was like, "Well, it's good to have somebody who is on the same page." And then I invited her into our little Warriors group, and now she's writing. She writes articles in her spare time on the subject matter, if you understand.
Yeah,
okay, brilliant.
Sure. See, that's it. That's what I mean.
And it's good. It's good to have a little community of people that we can share all the craziest things that are out there.
Absolutely.
But we can also talk about it. And one of our little group is also a follower of you guys.
Awesome.
Samantha Hurley.
Oh right, yeah.
We know
Art
Samantha.
Yeah, Samantha's been to a few of your gigs as well with her partner.
That's right.
Yep.
And it's good to see there's a community of us, so we're not all isolated. Sitting here reading conspiracies, and we look at things, and I now see. I work in the building trade, so I get all the usual BS about football, man life, and all of that, and da. But there's people out there as well that are like, well, things don't add up.
That's why we do the show, and we try to do it every Friday night and make that constant thing, so that people that have exited can have the Friday night space, mate.
Lance, where you guys introduced me to the Sheep Farm Boys, I love the deep dive they do, and some of the little things that they've introduced. I'm good at researching as well, and the little things that they've dug up, I'm like, oh, there's something there, and that's into my line of thinking on that subject, and dive into that, and I'm like that. Oh, that politician, and the dives they've done on their politicians are fantastic.
No, they're top-notch researchers, mate.
Yeah, Chris and that are. But I won't stick around for too long. I just want to say, guys, keep up the good work.
Thank you very much, mate. Thank you very
big
much.
Shout out to you and everybody in the Rise Above family.
Awesome.
And let's keep it going, and hopefully in the near future I'll be at one of your gigs.
Yeah, mate. We'd love to see you there, mate. Thank you very much for calling in. Rise Above.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Take care, bro. Adios. All right, we have got a few, Briggs and Jesus, we have got a few subjects to talk about. So I'm just going to put the screen up. I don't know if anyone remembers from a show the other week. I made this post and it said, like, from a young age, I was prepared for the world to be evil and cruel, but I was never prepared for it to be so stupid and gay. And it had like almost 1,000 likes. Mate, now this is on over 3,000 reactions now, right? This is the most maddest post I've ever made. Hundreds of shares and comments. It got a lot of people pissed off as well. But I had a follow up. It's like
I sent you this.
Did you send this?
Yeah, I sent you this.
I posted this one as well, and I think this is a powerful meme for what's going on at the moment, because the further we go into this, and when we do the Clan World reports and everything, it does seem to get. Everything seems to be more fake, more stupid, and more gay the further we go in. Exhibit A.
This is why I started the way that I started, Lance. This is why I started the way that I started, because one of the main things that I do, A, serve the community, and B, I have a mission to rebuild and reaffirm the male image overall, the black male image, and to remind the world how important the elements of manhood and masculinity are, because we are living right now in a modern day matriarchy, and it's not serving anyone. It's hurting our men, our women, our boys, and our girls. Men have been sissified and softened up because it makes the population more docile and makes us easier to control, hence the removal of men from the households and the family. So I'm glad that you touched on that, and this is one of the reasons why I started where I started. Not because I actually planned to go into this, but because you see how that meme there, it is very relevant considering what is going on today and the concentrated attack on femininity and masculinity. Everything is becoming more fake and becoming more gay. The effeminate male is non-threatening and docile and easy to control, and masculinity is needed. I mean, tens of thousands of men in any nation die every single day building the shelter, building the offshore oil rigs to dig for crude oil, to provide fossil fuels so that we can have gas, electricity, hot and cold running water. Whether you agree with war or not, men go to die to take the resources of other men so we can enjoy the first world luxuries of live streaming like we're doing right now.
Yeah.
And that shouldn't be taken for granted.
Only 20, well, definitely 20 years ago, or maybe 30 years ago, literally to have the capabilities of what we're doing here and now, and to be able to broadcast like this, you would basically be in an elite of people. You'd have to be on the fringes of the mainstream media, or have a shitload of money to have your own studio, or just to be able to broadcast. So we're very lucky.
Do you know what? Touching on the point that you just made right there. Remember, you've invited me before, and I said, Lance, I want to come, but when I come, I want to come correct. I at least want to, this is the bare minimum quality that I want to present. Now, between us both, we're music guys, we're sound guys, and we're production guys. So I'll let you know what setup I'm using right now. This is the basic Gorilla setup. There's no camera, there's no sound card, there's no XLR cable. It is literally a decent quality USB mic, which has switches for a low pass filter on it and a minus 10 decibels and a minus 20 decibels. Obviously, I've got a windshield on it. I've got an optional thingy as well, but I didn't want to put that in there because it's just taking up space and I don't really need it because I sound crisp, like you guys said.
You're just using a standard webcam, yeah?
I'm using my MacBook Pro and I'm using a built-in webcam, and I have a ring light behind it to give me some lighting, and I got my bedroom light on. Yeah, so, and I'm in front of my, my balcony. This is my door to my balcony, my curtains. Yeah, so, this is where I can go anywhere and set up this setup right now, and it's coming at decent quality. This is an important test. When I'm getting a bit more into it, that is when I will use the studio cardio condenser with the XLR cable and the audio interface.
Yeah, but that, mate, if that's a USB mic straight into your laptop, that's sounding really nice, actually. And that just goes to show you they're pretty inexpensive.
Yeah. You know what? I got this for £5 on Facebook Marketplace.
£5,
bro. It's a Samsung CO3, and it's not the worst USB mic there is. It's really not. Yeah, but they got way better quality ones now. But
mate, it sounds good to me, man.
I got this for £5.
Yeah, mate, you can't grumble with that. So anyone that's making excuses to halt the start of their content creation, there's no excuse. £5 microphone. You sound exactly as good as we do through our Queefmaster Pro with these £100 microphones. So it's like,
can't do this though, can he?
Gosh, maybe not. Right.
You know what? Yeah, if I had Logic open with the soundboard, I could still. But I haven't got enough RAM on. I haven't got enough RAM on this laptop. I've only got like 8 gig of RAM on this laptop, and I can't upgrade it. So I'm not even trying.
We have got some pressing topics, Mark. So check this out. Yes. What you're talking about, where the erosion of masculinity, is that how like the mainstream consensus thinking is able to get away with pumping shit like this? So, like all the sudden death that's happening, these crazy explanations for why people are dropping. Look at this. Car headlights could be risk of heart conditions. Ever more vehicles with dazzling LED beams. This is from the 15th of April. And this is an even more recent one. The common fart can trigger a killer blood clot. No, not just a killer blood clot. A fucking killer blood clot disorder. A special disorder. Scientists
Thank
discover.
you for putting some respect on the thing and saying it properly.
But I didn't see the word disorder, otherwise I would have waited. But these are going to new levels. Andy PG.
Yeah, but they can say what they like, mate. That's the whole point. They can say what they like. They've already got. I said this. I think I said this on the Sheep Farm episode.
Yeah.
You think after World War II, right? After World War II, it was all the masculine, fucking strong men. They went to war. Most of them died. Right. So what's the country left with? What's the stock left? All of Europe, really. It's just fucking weak and retarded people left. So then, like, what? Then that they grow up.
Weak and retarded.
Well, it is really, isn't it? Let's be honest. The majority. I'm not talking about everyone. I'm talking about the majority.
There was a point where men wanted to go and fight for their country.
Yeah, but most of them died. So what's left behind then is your country stock. If you're a farmer and you want to, kill your stock off, and like just make them docile and controllable. Because then you would want to get rid of the strong ones and just breed the retarded
even when they had conscription and you were basically allegedly forced to go to war, i.e. World War I, World War II. People, I remember this at school, they said that they had things people called conscientious objectors. So if you weren't like weak or retarded, as Andy PG puts it, or disabled or unable to fight, you could basically say, I'm a conscientious objector. And my conscience makes me object to fighting in this war, basically. Now, back then, because of what the things you two just pointed out, you'd been basically shunned by every other fighting male. Back then,
no pom-pom for you. You'd be looked at as a coward.
But here's the point I'm trying to make. Nowadays, imagine if conscription happened now. I guarantee 95% of the males watching this show would be conscientious objectors.
Yeah, for sure.
No way are we going to go and die for the parasite to go and murder someone else.
No.
But back then, I'm talking about the shift in mindset. In what we're talking about. We're talking about 2 or 3 generations.
Yeah.
Yes.
And a polar reversal.
I'm going to break it down. 1, the link between the erosion of masculinity and absolute BS like this being able to be spoon-fed down the public's throat. Men operate on logic and reason and what makes sense. If it does not make sense, you can't feed that to masculine men. We're not having it. You're going to have to prove it to me. Yeah? That's one thing. Yeah? Now, the feminine natural disposition is to be led by the masculine energy. Anyone can argue with that if they want to. That's up to them. I'm not going to argue with it. There are things set in nature for that. Okay, that doesn't mean men are any more important than women or vice versa. It means that we each have particular roles to play. Our job is to do all of the hard graft, and a woman's job is to just assist us wherever it is that we require assistance. We'll do the back-breaking labor, because most of your hard work is going to be used to rear children, and that's not an easy job. Okay, we have hormonal balances that equip us for these different sets of duties. Now, with the erosion of male and masculine roles in society and the blurring of the lines, what's happening is that each of the different sides of the same coin, which are the male and the female side of the coin, the heads and the tails, is becoming confused. So we now have masculinized women, effeminized men, and a separation of the family. What happens when the family gets separated? If in most cases the children are left with the women, that
the
leaves
state
women
goes in and clears up.
Speakers at the next Rise Above Live in the Flesh August Bank Holiday Hotel Weekender, featuring Martin Litka, Wisdom of Mushrooms, Graham Moore, Richard Ryder, Toroidal Dynamics, Inspector Veg, Marcus Payne, Ryan Sanders, Tom W's, and allegedly Dave Murphy. You won't want to miss out on these speakers exposing the peasantry that is Clown World. Exclusively at our Rise Above Live in the Flesh Part 2 Bank Holiday Hotel Weekender on the 22nd, 23rd and 24th of August. Don't be a peasant and get your tickets on our website today.
Veg, there's a bit of a food crisis going on at the moment, yeah?
Yeah.
Now, I made a little video this week. I'm going to show it. I guess I made it because I was walking along. I was driving along, and I saw something, and I thought, I'm going to stop. I'm going to record this. I'm going to say a few words because everyone's worrying about like vegetables running out. Yeah. I wish there was a greengrocer, but this is what happened anyway.
Right now, up and down the country, normies, peasants and NPCs are shitting themselves because supermarkets are limiting their vegetables.
Normies, peasants
Guess what?
and NPCs.
Meat will be next. But I'm going to give you a secret, an insider piece of information. Spoiler alert, supermarkets are not the only place you can buy food. Support local, you bunch of peasants. This is how we support local produce. Don't worry about not going to the supermarket. Support local producers. You're supporting farmers, right?
We support the farmers because they help us out. All our meats, like sirloin steak, Shrewsbury, rump steak, that's from Shropshire, legs of lamb and Welsh.
This is going on a tune.
Come and see us. We will look after you. We will do your bargain.
We'll look after you.
Obviously, I know you would have preferred that if I'd done a greengrocers.
Mate, that was when you said like normies, peasants, and NPCs.
I wanted it to go viral. I thought I'll just go in full blow and see if this can go viral because I think people need to hear this. Where did I go wrong there, Veg? Is that guy basically a death merchant?
Yeah, you went to the meat place.
Come on, close to the mic. You've got to kiss the mic like a beautiful lady. Tell the people.
Yeah, the thing about the meat is, if you eat animals that are treated in bad conditions, then that's worse for your health. But the thing is, if you eat animals that are treated in good conditions, that's better for your health. But surely the animals that are living in good conditions, they want to live. So, you see what I'm saying?
So
you've eaten the animals that are living in good conditions because it's better for your health, but you fucked them up because they were having a good life. But if you eat the bad ones, it's better for your health because they lived in bad conditions, but you're kind of doing them a favour.
I think there's a...
Well, yeah, mate, whoa. Wait, hold on. I think we need a gosh button. Gosh. Right. Did you just say that if you eat animals in factory farming, then you're actually doing them a favour?
Because the way they're living, is terrible. But I'm never going to promote. I've changed the way I am. I don't know if some people might need animal products or some people don't, because I don't know, because everyone's different. But I'm never personally going to promote people eating animals because of the karmic.
So are you full vegan, Veg?
In the last 6 years, I've tried little bits of meat a couple of times, but I'm not. It's not my thing, eating meat. I'm not going to go.
Did you go? Because you said you raised on like chicken dippers and shit like that.
I didn't eat fruit and vegetable till I was 20 years old. My mate started giving me broccoli and cauliflower and stuff like that, and vegetables now that are not even natural.
So what age did you actually go starting eating healthy? Like once you realised all this information?
From about 24 years old. That's when I started to clean up the diet and use herbs and start to eat fruit and vegetables, not organic, but they were just still. I was eating fruit and vegetables with pesticides and cleaning it up that way. But it's only when I moved to Bristol, 2015 near there, then I started to get organic stuff, get into the coconuts, get into distilled water, get into fasting.
Did you go vegetarian before you went vegan, or just went straight vegan?
At first, I was eating the electric food diet, but with meat. And then I said to my mate, I'm doing this electric Dr. Sebi diet and stuff like that. And he said, you're not, because you're eating meat. And then after that, I dropped the meat out and started just doing the fruit and veg.
So what kind of, since you've gone full electric, or say like in the last, say, 4 or 5 years, what kind of benefits have you found since you cut out the junk on the shelf?
I feel like my head's clearer, and it's the states that I've reached during fasting that just completely is like it's undescribable to describe the feeling that you get when you're fasting, because your mind's totally empty. You're just observed. There's no thoughts coming in. There's no lack. There's no desire, and you just feel like I experience my own immortality, and it's my nervous system completely balanced. So that's why now I can go there and there's no point in me having a cookie or I can get vodka or something like that, because I have a reference point for something that is much greater than the biscuit, the sugar, the drugs or the booze or whatever like that. So I know that's where essentially what I'm trying to get to. But I think the problem is a lot of people don't have a reference point for something that's greater than that. So we try and get if we feel a little bit bad, sometimes we go for the biscuit or the cookie and we try and sedate ourselves so we don't have to feel the pain or the feelings that we try to avoid a lot of the time. And
I guess also if you were to eat something that was like highly processed now with loads of refined sugars in it, like a cookie or something, that would probably affect you quite hard, wouldn't it? Like you would feel like the sugar rush maybe a lot harder than someone that eats that stuff every day, and then therefore the crash afterwards.
I'd usually wake up if I eat something that's crap, and I wake up and my mouth's all dry and my lips are stuck together or something like that.
I wake up like that every day. I feel that's normal. Shit.
I got all crust around my mouth, my lips are all stuck together and that.
Isn't that normal? Joking. Well, look, I've started actually literally off your advice in the last couple of weeks to try and cut out the refined sugar. I'm now drinking lemon water rather than say like Ribena. Or I did have a gin and tonic before the show, I'm not going to lie. But I'm not drinking any alcohol now because the inspector's here. Do you know what I mean? I don't need to be dressed down on my own show. I know how militant you are about it. So I'm not going to sit here and bust the gin and tonic.
Rise above it.
Well, that's it. You know, at the end of the day, if you have cleaned out your system, like you said you've been doing for the last 5 or 6 years, and then you do take one of those toxins, I suppose if once you feel really how dirty they are, then it gives you more of the impetus to carry on that journey.
Yeah.
I remember when I was really banging into my fitness, and I'll talk about it in the past now, shit. Like I was just eating greens and fish and, you know, brown rice and stuff like that. And if I was to like divulge into a Burger King or something like that, I feel proper crap afterwards. I'd be like, oh no, like I need to get that out of my system.
Yeah.
If you ate Burger King, I reckon it'd probably kill you nowadays, wouldn't it?
Could do.
It'd probably knock you for 6.
When you talk about fasting,
wouldn't be good.
Allegedly, Dave spoke about fasting last week, didn't he?
Yeah, he was, and Veg was in the comments.
Yeah, I know. Because I think that's an important process to go through, is to start the feeling of knowing what it's like to not have these things in your body is the fasting process. You know?
Yeah, 100%. Just to feel good, how good you can just to process it, because
to know the limits of your body as well, to know, like he spoke about, like, you know, that feeling you get of hunger, or that feeling, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Knowing your limits is a good thing about your body.
Yeah, going beyond hunger, getting in the ring with hunger and just going beyond, because a lot of people, we just keep eating all the time and the digestive system never gets a break, so we never go beyond hunger. But you see the clarity that you get from the fasting. Like I lived in Bristol, sometimes my head would be like all over the place and I feel a bit low, I'd have some anxiety, and I'd just stop eating sometimes and just drink just herbs, liquids, and then I'd be after that crying of tears of joy. And it's just like, it's something that I wish more people could experience.
And that this is from fasting.
Yeah,
alone.
from fasting. Yeah, from fasting.
It's quite a big step for a lot of people, like, you know, because the fear of being hungry is enough to make people not stop eating, if that makes sense, you know.
Well, it's such a natural, it's a natural thing, isn't it? You know, when you actually start to physically feel hunger, when you know, when your stomach is really rumbly, you can feel like your empty stomach. It's like you can get hunger sickness, so you start to feel lightheaded. You might have a headache. You actually are having, you know, physical symptoms that are screaming out to you, like grabbing you.
Yeah.
Go and eat some food. So you're actually talking about taking that on board, staring the boogeyman in its face,
going beyond that,
and going beyond it. So what is it? Is this like a barrier or a wall that you break through? Like they talk about the pain barrier, say like a marathon runner or something like that.
Yeah, it's fasting is basically like bowing down to the soul, because I'm playing a personality construct, Chris, and she's playing Natalie, he's playing Robert, and we hold on to these personality constructs. But as you start to fast and you let go of food, that's when the personality construct, you lose that, and then you just observe, and then you wake up to who you truly are, and you experience the true self, where you're just observing, and that's your natural state.
You're making it sound like a transcendental experience.
Yeah, it is.
So is this sort of like, is this goal that you can work towards with fasting? Is it similar the like what can be attained with meditation?
Yeah, maybe you experience enlightenment for a second, and then for on the fast, and then when you go back to nutrition again, you kind of fall from grace, and then the mind comes back in again, and you start to deal with all the thoughts and things like that. So you do experience enlightenment through fasting, but like what people would have.
God, you know, I sort of thought, imagine that food was one of the things that kept you locked in the simulacrum.
Kept you locked into what? I think it's what keeps you locked into the body, for sure.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, the body is the lens, it's the filter, it's the meat suit, that how we interact with the realm. Without the meat suit, you can't feel hungry.
Yeah.
It's the meat suit that feels hungry.
Yeah.
And then it tells your brain to pump out some sort of what would it be, cortisol or something like that, to make you have the feeling. So like, you know, you get a dopamine hit when you eat some food, but you get like an anti-dopamine hit when your brain tells your stomach tells your brain, or whichever way around it works, no, we want a dopamine hit. Here, have some cortisol. You won't like that. Or whatever enzyme it is that's pumped out. It works in exactly the same way. So it's like a meat suit reaction. So you're talking about rising above the meat suit here.
Yeah, it's the body has a built-in healing mechanism. So you use energy by thinking, moving, talking, and digesting. So if you just sit there and you say you got bad lungs, and you think less, you stop talking, stop moving, and stop digesting, your body, you freed up so much energy. So you just could drink more lane, and the body will say, right, what's the problem? And it will send the energy to the liver, send the energy to the lungs, or whatever needs healing. The body knows that it will naturally just start to heal itself. But if we don't leave the body alone and give it a chance, then it's not going to be able to do that, because it's constantly digesting and processing things. A lot of the time, the body's processing things that it can't even recognize. Like, even if you look at orange carrots, or you look at parsnips, or you look at cauliflower, a lot of the vegetables that we're eating are even synthetic. So you've even got vegetables that we're eating that the body still can't recognize. So even the vegetables are throwing you off balance. So now they're even making fake real food.
Yeah, completely fake meat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And plastic rice.
Did you watch that one today?
Right.
There was one today. There was a montage. The first thing they were doing, they got some rice. They poured it on a hot plate, and half of the rice melted and turned black because it was plastic.
Yeah, the plastic rice.
Then they got a load of baby food, and they put it in between two plastic bags and splashed it and squidged it out, run a magnet over it. And within 30 seconds, there's loads of black iron filings they've pulled out of the baby food.
Yeah, pure starch. Yeah, so a lot of people eat grains. Grains need to be completely dropped. I'd say wild rice or quinoa. But no one, like, religion is supposed to be about God. But if I look at a lot of what people do identify as Muslim, or identify as Christian, or follow the Bhagavad Gita, or follow Buddhism, none of them really know what to eat. And it's meant to be, that's why it should be tied into, nutrition should be tied into Islam and Christianity and following the Bhagavad Gita, whether it's Krishna or Buddhism or whatever, because it's the earth at the end of the day, and we're submitting to what creation. So we should be consuming, like...
So you eat a lot of raw food as well, don't you, Veg?
Not as much raw now.
No?
I did 2 winters ago, I did 4 months raw in the winter, and I was doing the ice baths and the saunas and that. You see it on the This Don't Make No Sense video, but now it's a lot of cooked food.
So we've also got
it's all just shady
Philadelphia. They only had about a third of the 10 million people that were planned to go. That went bankrupt a year later. So the construction time, this is another thing that doesn't make any sense, as well as the financials.
Yeah.
Because the financials, you could kind of explain it, well, they would probably just tax dodging, saying that it cost a lot more than it did.
Maybe,
so we can sort of explain that away. Now, the construction time, we can't. So every World's Fair has absolutely nonsensical numbers when it comes to the time it took to build the entire fair, from landscaping to the planning, opening, like I was saying before. Most of the fairs were around 200 to 300 buildings and only took 1 to 2 years to complete.
200 to 300 buildings. And again, back to the small population that they had.
Yeah.
So just to put that into perspective, how long did they allegedly stay open for? 6 months to a year?
6 months to a year.
So maximum. They took longer to build it than it does even stay
open.
No.
It took shorter time to build it.
Well, some of the buildings.
Yeah,
this is why I want to talk about Crystal Palace.
They're saying 6 months, man, to build shit like this.
No, that was 39 weeks, Crystal Palace.
Sorry, fuck me, 39 weeks. Right, I've done some... It's taken me longer than that to build my... like half the time that to build my wood store at home. Right, and they're putting this together in 39 weeks.
Right. This is fun. I've zoned in on Crystal Palace because obviously this was the first World's Fair, London, yeah. 1851. So this was the first in its current form, well, in the form that it was from the 1850s. This theorised time, not what we're talking about now, and not back to 1791, which was the Prague one. This is in this sort of incarnation. The Crystal Palace in London, that was the first one in 1851. 28 countries took part. There was 17,062 exhibitors. It's 80,000 square metres.
17,000 exhibitors.
Yeah.
So they've got to get all their shit there.
Yeah. And obviously this is, you can see the nice little horses and carts in that picture.
Yeah, fuck.
We struggle with 17 stall holders at Equinox.
Yeah, right.
So then you've got the visitors. There were 6 million people visited in 6 months. That was a third of the population of Great Britain.
So it's 1 million a month, they're saying.
Yeah, but it was a third of the population of Great Britain at the time.
And so, like,
Roughly the same attendance as the Britney Spears concert.
Like, where did all these people stay? It must have taken them, if they came from up north to London, it must have taken them fucking 3 or 4 days to get down there.
Was there accommodation at the World's
Well,
Fair?
you've got...
I can't find anything.
Can't find any accommodation.
Unless they were using old palaces.
This is what I mean. Could you imagine, right? When we went to Beat Herder Festival, we tried to hire a camper van, right? And in a fucking 30-mile radius, they were all booked out. Can you imagine something of this size being erected and having that 1 million people a month coming?
Yeah.
Can you imagine how busy people's bed and breakfast, hotels,
but also,
inns?
So
It'd be fucking what? There's clearly
just
not enough.
where did they all go to the toilet? Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But wouldn't that put like a drain on like the rest of the economy if like in such a short space of time, like 1/3 of the population?
Fuck me, a drain on the economy, mate. Can you imagine the amount of materials it would take to build this?
Yeah,
I'd probably halted the whole of America's fucking building.
I mean, from like the loss of workers, from the people attending it.
Yeah, for sure.
Like if everyone's basically going to the World Fair,
who's producing anything?
You can
yeah.
skip past.
It's just
Go down to the
it
next
doesn't
one.
make any
I've
sense.
got a few pictures of Crystal Palace because it was 3 times the size of St Paul's Cathedral. I don't know if anybody knows how big that is, but that is massive. And it took 4,000 tons of iron to build this building.
4,000 tons.
153,000 square meters of glass.
I saw a documentary on this as well, and it was where allegedly the iron was made.
Yeah, go to the next one. It'll show the inside.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was 153,000 square meters of glass, and 80 glaziers installed the glass. Guess how long it took them?
Go on.
Anybody?
33 days.
No. Just a week.
1 week.
Yep. They didn't have phones back then. There weren't as many distractions. They just did their work.
They didn't have TikTok.
Yep. They weren't dancing around while they were trying to do their jobs.
Sorry, the mouse went a bit shady there. But yeah, this is, I mean, look at this.
But apparently there was 5,000 construction workers, though, that built the rest of it. But yeah, 80 glazes. They'd put all the glass in. Didn't drop any. Because if you dropped some, you would have had to go 133 miles away to get some more.
133 miles. I mean, like 5,000 workers. Where are they staying? Where are they shitting? Where's their food coming from? 5,000 people.
Yeah. There's a few
I mean, I've got to
pictures of
say,
it.
like, the official narrative of this it sounds like a bit of a tall tale.
It's insane. So it took 39 weeks from approval of the plans to open in the Crystal Palace. And so each pane of glass, it was cylinder glass, it was 1.25 by 0.25 metres. So that's very labour intensive. They didn't have any automated system. They had to blow it in a trench, cut it and polish it, every single pane of glass.
And then store it, move it, erect it. Fuck,
so on the documentary that I was watching about this, they've got a civil engineer that was quoted as saying this would have been impossible with no machinery, and automated glass production was introduced 30 years later.
Look at this, look.
So if you go forward a couple.
Oh, hang on. I want to see that one.
Yeah, so that just shows more the size of the glass. So many panes.
I mean, look at these people here. Like, yeah, you could probably get 2.5 people.
Yeah.
It's massive. Look at it.
Yeah.
Absolutely massive.
So none of it makes any sense because also you've got other landscaping as well.
With no diggers, man. They haven't got diggers.
No.
Like that alone, not having diggers.
Yeah, it was like 39 weeks to get all of that ready. I don't know what the problem is. It's clearly fine. So that's how far.
Oh yeah, here we go.
That's how far the glass came.
Yeah, 133 miles. That's it, Smethwick.
Yeah.
Fucking.
And apparently after the fair, they moved it.
That's right.
Yeah, they picked it up, they moved it, and they built a train station, the Crystal Palace train station. And after it burnt down, the only thing that remained was the underground train station.
Which is here.
Yeah. And that was apparently designed by some Italian architect
So
guy,
this-
but there's another picture of that as well. So,
So
this was underneath it.
This is an underground
This is-
train station,
yes,
ladies
this
and
was
gentlemen.
underneath
This is
Crystal
obviously
Palace.
very necessary. Look at all this like symbolism here, like, all over the place.
Yeah.
But this is like an abandoned train station now, yeah? Or is it? Is it?
No, it's still in use.
No, it's still in use?
Yeah, Crystal Palace. I think so.
There's two, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's two Crystal Palace train stations.
Right, okay, so you've gone forward too far. You ruined
No,
the
no, no,
surprise.
no, that's the next slide.
basically, so the next section, basically just proves that the official story is bullshit.
Yeah. Or incredibly far-fetched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing that you would probably be able to do in 39 weeks is restore a building like that.
Yes. Yeah.
Realistically,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, I'll say
what
that's
you
good.
could
Or
do.
maybe just clean the fucking thing.
Yeah.
You imagine just cleaning that.
Yeah, it took 5,000 people, 39 weeks to
39 weeks to founded it.
yeah, to clean it all up.
Because let's just go back to what we said earlier. Like, if we're going with the mud flood theory, so buildings that survived, I reckon they would have been pretty grubby.
Yeah.
So if they're going to use this in this exhibition site, you imagine cleaning that, the size of that, all those glass panes, where they've got to
Make
put
a
scaffolding up
You'd
and
make a
stuff.
killing if you had a high pressure cleaning
You
machine.
would, wouldn't you?
You and your mate in
Shall I-
a
shall I
van.
go on?
Well, basically, the next part is kind of why they would get rid of all these buildings. I've gone through
Okay.
it like this because when I'm tattooing people, I forcibly rabbit hole them. And I'm sorry to any of those people that might be watching now. Because they can't get away from me.
If you want to be
so
inked,
I
get by
take-
Becky S, then you've got to take a rabbit hole. You've got to take one in the rabbit hole.
Take one for the team, comrade.
But basically, I do pay attention to the questions that people ask me when I'm like talking about this stuff. So I've kind of gone through it in a way that I'm trying to introduce people who might never have heard of this stuff, who are asking what they think are very rational questions. So the next thing would be, why would they take away all these buildings? Why would they demolish them? They're so beautiful.
Yeah.
And it goes back to what we were talking about before, re-educating the population, but also taking away the technology, the free energy technology that we could have possibly had back then. So if you go on to the next one, one of the theories is that the energy was being harvested from the atmosphere, so
From the
static
ether.
electricity. And on a lot of buildings, you see these sort of spires with the little balls on top. We've seen them everywhere, haven't we?
Yeah, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
This is one subject which I'm most fascinated in with the old world architecture.
Yeah.
That and the fireplaces. We'll get to that.
So these are called Leyden jars. And they would actually, you can, we went to the church the other day and I told that guy about it.
Oh yeah, we rabbit holed this dude in the church. Like, we were investigating this church. There was loads of satanic shit on it. We just having a little wander around it, and there was this dude there, and we were
He's
chatting
like,
to
oh,
him.
what are you doing? I'm like, oh, just looking into that. And then I just showed him.
I told him I was investigating the solar death cult of the ancient world.
And he looked a bit scared, so I showed him the Google search results of a Leyden jar, and he looked a lot less horrified.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that. We went home with this rabbit hole stretched.
Yeah. So basically,
He was an American guy, nice guy. he was.
Yeah. So apparently the Leyden jar, it was for storing static electricity. It wasn't creating it; it was for storing it. And it was discovered accidentally. Okay.
So just quickly, the word laden, if you're heavily ladened.
Well, no,
You've
it
got-
comes because the Dutch physicist Peter van Motionbroek of University of Leiden in 1746.
That's what they're saying, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Apparently.
It's just interesting that the word laden means like
Full
or
like a vessel.
Yeah.
It- I bet that's the same as the Baghdad battery technology.
Yeah, very similar.
Yeah. Just
Um,
another angle. Shall I move on?
Yeah, there's a picture next of something you might have seen on top of buildings. The same thing, the balls with sort of
Yeah, so
attached up. This
Becky
is how
doesn't
you
mean
join
the
them all together.
jars. She just means the metal.
What you would, yeah.
Yeah, the gold brass structure on top.
So very often you see these on the top of buildings as well. So I've just sort of thought that maybe these jars could have been linked up on the ridges of roofs, all that kind of thing. Because back then they didn't use energy in the same way that we do now. Like they didn't have computers and phones and all that sort of stuff. Potentially all you would need was some sort of low level current to keep your perpetual motion fan blowing at you.
Yeah.
Or, you know, a little spark to light your oil lamp. You wouldn't be using...
Or a spark to light your oven.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
Yeah, your oil oven.
Kind of low-level static electricity.
So
it would be enough to run a household.
So what you're saying is you
successfully.
wouldn't need, because they're using stuff like oil lamps and stuff like that, you don't need to harness, you don't need to use that much actual electricity.
It wouldn't be dangerous as well, because, you know, if you get a static shock, you just get a little bit of a shock.
Yeah, whereas what we're using
you wouldn't have to have wires through your walls to keep them protected and insulated. You could just have a little copper pipe running through your house, which would be quite easily ripped out afterwards.
Yeah. Auntie Covid in the chat saying Freemason jars.
That's nice.
And then the next one just sort of shows how they could have been inspires.
Whoa. That's another thing I was particularly fascinated with, was the spires.
Yeah.
Because to me, they look like, when we went to Prague, they look like, we're going to show you later, they look like ancient electricity pylons.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. They look
mate.
like the shape of these jars with the thing coming out of the top. It looks like something on an electric circuit board.
Yeah. Next slide.
Yeah, the next few basically are just examples of apparently Victorian technology.
So this is stuff they would have exposed at the world's first.
Then.
Yeah. Okay.
Apparently.
So this is the stuff when they'd have had new inventions and stuff like that. They would have, showed these off to the peasantry.
But it all would have been things that they could control, whether it be sort of you'd need to use their power system to run these things or whichever. Because this was at the time of like Tesla and Edison and the whole sort of controlling of electricity time. But also it was the time of airships, and we had the Hindenburg disaster.
Yeah, that's right.
Because a lot of old photographs you see airships, but again, they wanted planes with all of your jet fuel and all of that kind of stuff that cost a significant amount more than airships.
Yeah.
So the next image is one of these airships. Doesn't look that impressive, but it's still up in the air. But they made such a if you look into the Hindenburg, it's ridiculous.
It's a massive rabbit hole in itself.
Exactly. This is why the World's Fair is such a good subject to kind of link everything together.
Because it's all interlinked from that, yeah.
It literally goes through from the technology that was around at the time, the possible resets, the controllers, all of that sort of stuff, all links in with the World's Fairs, which is quite fascinating. So yeah, there's a few slides of weird technologies that were around back then.
I mean, what's going on here?
Healing.
All right.
Yeah. It was a frequency healing, I think, electric healing, something like that.
You're not getting that in your hospital, your big pharma hospital. Wow.
Yeah, I just added that because it's really cool.
Yeah, look at it.
I want one.
That is really cool.
Look at this. People cruising around.
Right, so that looks like Star Wars
Horseless,
technology.
sulky runs on two wheels.
116 miles an hour.
Wow.
Yep.
And it's electric.
Yeah. All of these were electric.
Italian engineer, a queer horseless sulky.
What?
Has been invented by an Italian engineer. A queer horseless sulky has been rolling on the roads near Brussels, Belgium, in recent tests. The seats, engine, and controls are located between the two huge rubber-tired wheels. According to the designer, the vehicle can attain speeds of 116 miles an hour.
That was really fast for back then.
Yeah,
fast
it's
now,
insane,
mate.
isn't it? But this is the thing, like, as well as taking away the technology, the whole point of all this is to take away people's connection to their past. It kind of gives them a lack of meaning. So they look for meaning from the government. They get told what to do because they don't have...
I mean, this
have
looks
memories of their actual purpose in life, their ancestors, all of that. They break the connections to it.
This dude's had a couple of joints and just knocked this up out of his lawnmower in his fucking garden shedlet. This looks brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
So is the idea that this kind of stuff was before the reset, and this is what we've lost, and the whole idea of the World's Fair is sort of like to reprogram
they're
the
taking,
peasants at the time?
They're giving the technology to the peasants, which they want them to have. So yeah, this is being suppressed, stuff like this.
Yeah.
Because this didn't really ever happen, did it? Like, this is sort of like almost a contraband photo, because if that worked, where is it now? Like, it never got developed into anything. It was clearly taken away, and we've seen all these pictures of the
it's
scooters.
for your safety.
Yeah, like all the things that are happening again now, like the personalised electric vehicles, and it seems like it's it's definitely repeating itself here, isn't it?
There's a few of this
many,
one.
There's so many of these pictures. They're just everywhere. And I just thought this was funny. I don't know what this.
It's got his hook here, look, and his claw.
I just think braking would be sketchy on those things.
Fucking look at this. It's a
What?
fucking Willy Wonka's.
I could not find an explanation for this photo.
I mean,
it's at a World's Fair.
It's
here, from
look.
one of the exhibitors,
This
but
looks,
I couldn't find anything else.
This looks like all shit to harness the harness from the ether.
Yeah.
Look at all this shit. This is mental.
So these are the type of things that were on display at the World's Fair?
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, this was one of the exhibits.
The older ones?
Yes.
Like, this is a temporary exhibit.
Temporary exhibit, comma. Look, you can see the iron girders here. It's temporary, mate.
totally
they just
temporary.
knocked that up out of papier-mâché.
Yes,
and,
mate,
like,
yeah.
stuff like that, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, wood and linen.
Look at this. Fucking hell. This is insane. What do you guys think? It's 257 peasants seen in.
Wow. I haven't really seen anything like that before.
It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah. So the next thing was, where are we?
Have I gone too far?
No, we're just on to the next bit. So basically, that was just why they would do it. Like, why would they demolish all of this stuff? So this is showing the possible technology that
we could have had. We could have these days.
We could have been building on this.
Yeah, sure. And because in a nutshell, they wanted to control the energy supply.
Yeah.
We haven't got any of this tech. We've got the automobile and electricity.
Or could it be fair to say that, like, in a way, what they could have been doing is taking the pre-reset technology, which was available to everyone, and then after a reset, showing it to peasants and going, look at these amazing things that you might be able to have one day.
Yeah.
But you don't have them.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like a bit of mockery, but it's also like setting the pace for the next reset. Like, so if you've got,
it's also getting people into the work, spend money, sleep, work, spend money, sleep mindset.
Look at
like,
all these shiny
look at all
things.
these things that you'd need to earn money to buy. That's
your consumerism-driven lifestyle.
So the buildings that are still standing, a lot of them, committees were actually set up to try and save these buildings. We watched the rest of that documentary today. It was talking about a lot of that. There was even Franklin Roosevelt.
I say, yeah, he was highly
he was
vocal.
very upset that they were trying to tear the buildings down. So this building I've tried to pick sort of one example from each of this because it's such a massive subject, but you can basically replicate any of these stories into any of the World's Fair sites. So that's the Palace of Fine Arts,
which is still erected today.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's in San Francisco, and it was apparently built to look like a ruin.
Obviously, you'd do that.
Yeah. So it was originally constructed for the 1915 Panama Pacific Expo to exhibit works of art, and it was completely rebuilt from 1964 to 1974. It took them 10 years to rebuild it, which is interesting. But also, it was completely rebuilt in the 60s. So if you go to the next slide, that's part of it.
Which is still there now. Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure the 60s were after that symbol was banned across most of
I would have said in the 60s it was still pretty fresh,
Yeah.
the use of this image and symbol.
So,
if I was an architect, I wouldn't
only
be,
10 years afterwards?
Yeah, I wouldn't be
15
slapping
years
this on
afterwards?
some new grand building for all the peasants to see.
I would have said it was still fairly fresh in people's minds.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, mate. I think this is a bit odd to be putting on a newly built building.
Was it
around
something
that time?
Yeah, I don't know. Or no, I probably shouldn't say that.
But yeah, so that's just one little example of just these stories that don't make sense. So then we're moving on to the cover up.
Sorry, is it Theodore Roosevelt we've got in the chat here?
Theodore Roosevelt.
Not Franklin, sorry.
We're looking at so many different things today. I've
lot,
mixed many things up in my brain. I'm sorry. I don't think he minds.
No, we'll forgive you, Miss Becky.
Right, so now we just move on to the fires. So most of the earliest World's Fairs were destroyed by fire. The ones that weren't accepted as temporary buildings.
It seemed they were pretty careless with matches
Yes.
back in the day because there's an awful lot of fires surrounding the World's Fairs.
Yeah.
Mountain Dew World's Fair
There's a
edition.
lot of Mountain Dew World's
Well,
Fair.
most of them were actually a cow kicked over a lantern.
Yeah.
Weapons.
That's why electricity is safe.
Cow owned
the
by
stupid-
Rothschild and Co.
Yeah, blame the stupid animals. Or it is usually youths.
Shout out to Santa Order Dynamics.
I heard today that the Hawaii electricity company is getting massive lawsuits against it, exactly the same as what happened in California and those other places where there were Mountain Dew attacks. So it's like the flavour of the day. Oh, a cow kicked over a campfire, or the power lines came down. It's like they'll just use an excuse.
Yeah. The thing is, though, I'm surprised that that's happening because that means that they'll have to go to court and they'll have to do discovery, which means a lot of evidence is going to come out in court. Like when the Crystal Palace came down, that's never been solved. They never did. Like they did the sort.
There was no hearing.
They did nothing.
No
they
investigation.
did no investigation on
Nothing.
it. And people just went, oh well.
One of the grandest buildings that's ever been built, and they didn't even give a fuck that it's burnt down.
Yeah, back then peasants were just happy that their house didn't burn down too, I guess.
Yeah, apparently they were rolling bits of glass up and
That's right,
rolling them
playing
into
with it,
bowls.
yeah. Souvenirs.
Playing with bits of glass that are just.
Shout out to Emma Bridges. She's saying the Masonic cow.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Masonic cow. Excellent.
So.
Michael, that's loud. It's a loud.
That's very loud, Michael. That one.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, that hurt.
Get your levels right, PJ.
Well, it's archaic. She's very low on her.
Yeah, so I've just got a few images of the fires. If you go to the next one of this, it's the explanation of it. It's the 1871 Chicago thing. Oh no.
1893.
Where's no? Oh, that's the one after.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah,
1871. No, is
18. Yeah. Oh no, it is 18.
Yeah, so the 1893 World's
so
Fair
two
was
fires.
devastated by two fires. You'd think the Great Fire of 1871 would have made Chicago cautious about fire safety, but the World's Fair experienced two destructive blazes, allegedly.
Yeah. There was also I've looked at so many over the last week that they've all kind of merged into one because they all fucking look the same.
Yeah.
And they all have the same story. There was one building that was thought to be kept by one of these committees. I can't remember where it was. And they said that it lasted for an extra 50 years.
That's right. That's right.
And they said that the only thing that it needed to make it safe, because they closed it because it was unsafe for people to be in it.
That's right.
They installed a sprinkler system.
Wow.
So this temporary structure that was already there for 50 years only needed a sprinkler system to make it stand for another 70 years.
So it doesn't sound very temporary, does it? If
No.
all it needed was an updated fucking sprinkler system.
No.
Or
You think with so many great fires happening every 5 minutes, they would install sprinkler systems all over the place.
Some nice image here.
Yeah, that's how a lot of them
Great
ended.
Fire of
apparently.
Chicago World's Fair, the destruction of the manufacturers and liberal arts building.
Maybe there was some sort of ritual. It was like every time the controllers survive a reset, you get whatever
They sacrifice
you get whatever is left of the old world, and then you tell all the peasants a load of lies about it, and then you burn it down just to harvest the last bit of energy. Like, rah, now here's for another 138 years.
Well, this is the thing. There wasn't World's Fairs in all of the cities. Like Dresden. And Dresden had a sort of more minor.
Are we moving on to
fair.
Dresden now?
We are. because that's
Excellent,
the next
excellent.
slide.
Can I just ask a question? How many different, roughly, how many different countries had World's Fairs? Because it's like a number of countries.
There's a full list on Wikipedia of the World's Fairs.
But I mean, just America alone, the states and cities they had. I mean,
it wasn't just there. Was it just Commonwealth countries like France? So Paris World Fair, obviously Prague. We're talking about like over 10 countries, maybe.
Is Prague Commonwealth?
Let
me
Jason that.
So
I'm not sure the Czech Republic's Commonwealth.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I don't think so, mate. I don't think. I would.
Very similar to the Tartarian Empire.
I'll speculate
area.
that they maybe had World's Fairs where the imprint of the Tartarians was most prominent. That's what I would say. And obviously they had it in London was the first one, yeah. Ever.
Oh wow! So the list of World Fairs is ranked by decade.
Yeah.
From 1790 onwards.
Yeah, look at the first one.
The first two was Prague and Paris in
Yep.
1791 and 1798. There's only two in that century. Then there was 3 in Paris, all in the 1800s. Wow.
Mate, they were busy.
Vienna, Santiago, Bogota, Colombia, Nanking, China, Brussels, Belgium, Buenos Aires, Nagoya, Japan, London, San Francisco, Vienna. The list goes on.
Yep. So the next thing is the way that they could possibly. Why is it so small? What's happened? Basically, if they didn't have a World's Fair, or they didn't have a significant enough site of a World's Fair, like Dresden didn't have a proper World's Fair, it had a hygiene expo.
That's right.
So it was a much smaller area. But when you get to World War II, places like Dresden got absolutely carpet bombed.
Yeah, basically
and when you look at
destroyed,
the actual buildings that they destroyed, they were exactly like the architecture that we see everywhere else. So I've got a few slides on this. The next one looks very much like that first picture. Well, yeah, there you go.
Just fucked. Isn't it?
But it just seems
Is that
quite...
a picture of Wowie?
It looks like it, doesn't it?
Yeah. There's that one blue castle left.
I mean, look at that. What's been left there? Fucking all nothing.
But when you go to, if you go to the next one, this is from the Hygiene Expo of 1911, but even the buildings don't look that good.
No. No.
That could have potentially have been built just for that, in this similar sort of style. I've no idea. None of it makes any sense.
But again, this isn't a photo.
No, true.
So this, we might have had an artist who wasn't quite intricate enough to do the intricacy of the architecture, which was actually there. You just don't know, do you? Yeah, I mean, this looks like this looks.
It's a bit lame. There's no statues.
Yeah. There's no statues. There's no grand spires. No fucking bollocks behind it.
Yeah, but this is 1911.
Yeah.
So this is a long time after.
I mean, this looks completely different architecture.
Yeah.
This looks almost sort of.
But this is what I'm saying. Like, the reason why I brought this one up is because Dresden got so significantly destroyed in World War II.
Yeah.
And the only thing near to a World's Fair that they had was this.
It was the Hygiene Expo.
Yeah.
I mean, this looks like some kind of
a Hygiene Expo.
Mm-hmm.
What's like cleaning out the area? What is it about? What, everyone goes there to wash their hands or something?
It's just learning about bandages.
Maybe they're selling face masks.
Well, when was that? 1911. What was the
9/11.
So yeah, the next one is. I can thank one of my clients, Jamie, if he's watching for this. We were talking about the World's Fair this week, and he was like, "Oh, it says that in Men in Black." So I was like, "Oh, okay." So I went home and I looked at it, and yeah, it does mention it in Men in Black, but it actually means that if you search for the New York Expo, it comes up with 1964.
So
you have to actually start typing 18 to get to the 1853 one.
If I remember this part of Men in Black, basically what they say was a World Fair exhibition with what flying saucers might look like. They're actual flying saucers.
Yeah.
So we've again got the theme of the World Fair being used as some sort of cover up for something that may or may not have been reappropriated, i.e. they were real flying saucers.
Michael.
But yeah, so a lot of what I was finding was basically, this is how they're continuing to cover it up. Because the next one we've got a scene from Iron Man, which is the same one, New York in 1964.
So they're trying to keep New York under wraps.
Yeah,
They've
massively.
Featured twice.
But it also means that if you search for World's Fair Men in Black, you just get these 1964 ones. You don't get anything earlier than that. You have to know that there was one in 1800s and start typing 18 before it'll bring you the other stuff up. So what was the other thing that we were talking about with covering up? My brain's gone. But yeah, so literally we were just talking about it earlier.
Covering up.
You know when you Google something, it'll bring you the new of it, Momo.
Oh yes, yeah.
That were it.
Yeah.
So on the documentary, there's an amazing documentary that I'd absolutely highly recommend called Stolen History. There's part 1, 2, and 3. Part 3 is mainly on the World's Fairs.
But you have to watch the first two
It's
first.
fantastic.
Yeah. Watch them in order, guys.
I've stolen a lot of the shit from there just because it's just so well researched and it's really easy to understand and it's really good for people who don't have a clue about anything because it really lays it out well. But at the end of that, they talk about a film called Momo. And it's about a little girl who she lives in
I think it's in the 70s.
It's really old.
It's old really.
But she lives in like an old world amphitheater with the whole Mudford windows,
Roman amphitheater,
like a Roman amphitheater, and all of the adults get told by the controllers, like the grey men, to start saving their time. So it's creepy and everything starts getting bleaker and greyer and all of the adults they're working to save time and then they lose all their time for some reason. I've not watched the film, but I really want to. And she's the only one that stays connected to the old world and the old and knowing that you don't work to live. Is it on BitChute? I don't know. It's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube, Rob, mate. Go check it out. Stolen History, the World's Fairs. Check that out. Part 1, 2, and 3.
So yeah, it's her that actually sort of brings it up. I don't know what I've got on there next. Oh, that's Prague.
Are we moving on to Prague?
That's Prague after.
Oh. I'm just going to go and get another drink.
So yeah, basically with Momo, she is this little girl who, shows everybody how they were supposed to be living, their connections to the past, and it's about loving and all that sort of stuff, and family and things, rather than just working all the time. And now, when you search for Momo, you get a creepy child-eating, scary monster thing. Do you remember that from a few years ago? Momo?
I think so, yeah.
Google it. So I'm finding over and over and over again these things that I'm looking at when I'm researching the World's Fairs. They'll have the same names as things that have come out more recently that have been totally inverted.
Yeah, we discussed this before. I think it might have been with Sheep Farm because I believe it was the guys at Sheep Farm or someone else maybe. They were telling me that they'd had the same phenomenon where they were researching a certain subject or maybe a person's name, but there would be like a decoy subject, theme, or person that would always come up and totally dominate the search results.
Yeah, and obviously you've got Alphabet running Google who shows you all of these search results, much like when I was talking about baby Ernest earlier. When I was searching for any other baby that was raffled or whichever, the only other thing that I could find was the Foundling Hospital baby raffle. I was about 50 pages deep. I was on other search engines, like everything, trying to find something. It was.
I've just seen what this new Momo thing looks like. Yeah, it's horrible.
It's horrific, isn't it?
Yeah, really scary. Is that for kids? Is it?
It was apparently going around scared, I don't know. I just remember people on Facebook saying, "Don't let your kids watch Momo" or something. It's terrifying. But and I was like, well, okay, I'm not interested. But when I saw that documentary and it talks about the film Momo, instantly I was like, holy shit, they've used that recently to scare children.
Right, interesting.
Instead of this child who had saved humanity by connecting all of the adults back to the past again.
Ah.
Because obviously they don't want people thinking like that.
Of course. No, I can see that, and yeah, it happens a lot. There's some garbage thing put out in the mainstream of the same name.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like what's the word? Like it's like a content file.
It's a digital cover up.
Yeah.
So you've got the physical cover up and all of the stuff that I've showed you on the slides of the actual physical buildings, and then when obviously they know that people research this stuff, they do a digital cover up as well.
I wonder how long it will be before talking about this stuff will be classed as historical misinformation. It's like, no, think about it. Like,
well, stolen history got wiped off YouTube.
On that note, sorry, it's about how, but the only reason they say they censor people is for safety purposes. How is this historical misinformation going to harm people?
Well, it might cause them to question their existence.
NPCs implode.
They'll have to open up all the asylums again.
It could start making multiple NPCs like malfunction on mass levels, I think. And I have looked into the world fairs and I've seen some of the stuff that you've seen, but we've gone a bit deeper tonight already. And just from Googling a minute ago, how many countries they're in, I had to search it by decade, and starting at the bottom, every decade I went in, there was an increasing amount of places and countries, but it did seem like it was localizing it in parts of the world. And I'm just thinking, if you've been running this program and you can, in every decade, you can do these, let's say, 3 or 4 world's fairs on whichever part of the world you wanted to either demolish, redevelop, reprogram.
Well, the thing that we were chatting last night, weren't we? And I had a bit of a theory about
Pillow chat.
about the 1791. The very, very first World's Fair was Prague in 1791.
Which we went to.
Which we went to the building.
To the site, yeah.
And didn't that building look very much like the other buildings?
Yeah.
The ones that were built in 100 years later. Very, very, very similar. So my theory was that these were built from 1791. Like that was when, so they had this first sort of World's Fair, and it was good people running the show in 1791 with the free energy technology, and that was when this massive expansion happened. That was in my theory, and that's when they were building all these buildings in Prague all over the place with all of these spires on top and all these domes and all that sort of stuff. And then by whatever happened in 1850 or around then, that wiped out these good guys, was then inverted, and they used their same World's Fair template because they can't create, and they used the very same template to take over their buildings and re-educate everybody and do all of the shit that I've just gone through. Because the timeline matches up, and I'll go through that when I look at some of the other buildings that I found in Prague.
Well, we talk about 1850 because I think because it's a lot to do with photography, right? And when the first photos come out, and it was sort of a noticed phenomenon that there weren't many. When you see established on the side of an old building or a business established, not many of them are before 1850.
No.
It's nothing to say that that's definitely when some sort of mud flood happened. It could have been before 1790. We don't really know, but it's very interesting that these...
It doesn't have to have happened everywhere all at once either.
No, which is... that's a very good point as well. But it's interesting, the World Fairs started 60 years before this date of 1850.
That's in, they could have had a good 50, 60-year run of building these buildings across, that could have been the unified civilization for a good 50 years. And it could have split off into factions. It could have split off into some people who were like, I'm going to do all this for myself. And if we group together and steal this technology, wipe those out, then we can make people pay for this energy.
Yeah.
What's your name? How are you? What are you doing here?
I'm
Amazing.
Fifi.
Yeah.
I'm from Swanage, just over the water over there.
Yep.
met up with these guys a few years ago through Magix, who I'm friends with his mum, and they all came together through music, and then we had a meeting of minds.
Rules, regulation, improbable laws. Rules, regulation, no just cause. To bust an immovable object, become an unstoppable force.
Greasing cogs, greasing cogs, greasing cogs, greasing cogs inside the Leviathan. Inside the Leviathan. They make the rules, they make the rules, they make the rules, but we got the game plan. Greasing cogs, greasing cogs, greasing cogs inside the Leviathan. Bear witness to this phenomenon. A clear sickness as it's coming on. That's their business. So I carry on beating my fist on the walls of Babylon. And it's vicious. If you're a vagabond in the British Isles, it ain't Avalon. The ambitious escape to the Amazon. Life is malicious, climbing the echelon. So we gotta break them chains, do personal best and make them gains. It's a hurtful mess, so abstain from eternal threats on a long campaign. Enough stress, but we don't complain, and I'm hopeful, so I won't refrain from a global test. Gotta maintain on a mobile flex with no disdain. Greasing cogs, greasing cogs. They make the rules, they make the rules, they make the rules, but we got the game plan. Greasing cogs inside the Leviathan, inside the Leviathan. We're up against an immovable object. Greasing cogs, greasing cogs. They make the rules, they make the rules, they make the rules, but we got the game plan. Greasing cogs, greasing cogs. Up against an immovable object, placing bets on illusional odds set. Yo, it's cruel from the onset, killing you slow is the usual project. Still thriving despite the drawbacks. Ill writing, designing formats. This life gotta ride it raw back. The mind's climbing, not wiping the floor mat. Greasing cogs inside the Leviathan, keeping watching the ice conspiring. Catch wind, sound up the siren. Future the flames in the furnace is firing, not expiring, expanding. Inquiring to gain understanding. A fall from the top equal to crash landing. Don't get fooled by the devil's rebranding. Greasing cogs, greasing cogs. They make the rules, they make the rules, they make the rules, but we got the game plan. Greasing cogs inside the Leviathan. We're up against, they make the rules, they make the rules. Greasing cogs, greasing cogs. They make the rules, greasing cogs. They make the rules, they make the rules, but we got the game plan. Greasing cogs inside the Leviathan. Greasing cogs. They make the rules, they make the rules. Greasing cogs. They make the rules, but we got the game plan. You ain't with it, get out the way, man. Short-sighted, take off the Ray-Bans. Sourcing ethical goods, not name brands. No bait plans, we execute. Blueprints get combed with a fine tooth. The control system is not absolute. Revealing the truth is the way to recruit the youth. Collating a man to the proof while they're stacking a man to the lies. Cracking the code is eternity striving. Like drinking the fountain of life. Like a rhythm that I'm already riding. Aiming to bring down the house in tonight. The mic's hidden with imminent rising. When I draw this run big alive. Greasing cogs. Greasing cogs, greasing cogs, greasing cogs inside the Leviathan. Greasing cogs, greasing cogs, greasing cogs inside the Leviathan. The Leviathan. Greasing cogs. They make the rules, but we got the game plan. Greasing cogs, greasing cogs inside the Leviathan. They make the rules, but we got the game plan. Greasing cogs, greasing cogs.
Catch you later and I'll